Okay, we're on the air.
A judge or something.
Welcome to the meeting of the Long Hill Township Planning Board. We will commence immediately. We have a full agenda. Madam Secretary, would you mind reading their notices?
Absolutely. Number one, call to order and statement of compliance. Adequate notice of this meeting or hearing has been provided by posting a copy of the public meeting or hearing dates on the municipal bulletin board and website, by sending a copy to the Echo Sentinel newspaper, and by filing a copy with the municipal clerk. Number two, standard board procedures. Any meeting or hearing conducted by the board is a quasi-judicial proceeding. Any questions or comments must be limited to issues that are relevant to what the board may legally consider in reaching a decision, and decorum appropriate to a judicial meeting or hearing must be maintained at all times. Number three, meeting cutoff. Announcement is made that as a matter of procedure, it is the intention of the planning board not to continue any matter past 10:30 p.m. at any regular or special meeting or hearing of the board unless a motion is passed by the members then present to extend the meeting or hearing to a later specified cutoff time. Number four, electronic devices. All in attendance are asked to mute cell phones or any electronic devices as to not interrupt the proceedings. Pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call. Ms. Dill is excused this evening. Mr. Hands?
Here.
Committeeman Lavender?
Present.
Mr. Laverario?
Here.
Ms. Ogins? Here. Mr. Opalka is excused this evening. Vice Chairman Jones?
Present.
Chairman Richardson?
Here.
Chairman, we have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Okay, I turn your attention to our first agenda item, which is agenda item number 7. This is associated with resolution for Suitcase Bakery, application number 25-20P. You should have all had in your packets, and you may have hard copies of this resolution that was drafted up. If you have any comments, please share.
Just a missing comma on the dates.
Yep.
You got that?
Yeah, under board action, September 9th, should have a comma right after it. Sorry about missing that.
Okay. I'll fix that.
Bob?
You
Please.
can go or I can go. We got
Please.
the same one.
Okay, go.
Okay,
Get that one.
I only found 2 grammar changes. One on page 1, the second whereas.
Mhm.
It says, whereas the applicant requests minor site plan approval, the requested relief in connection with its proposal to
Yep,
convert. Okay?
got it.
Then on page 2, I think it's the third whereas, the last line, it says, single-family residential uses are found, it says to, I think it should be on,
Yeah,
opposite.
sure. On.
Those were the only typographical things I saw.
One of these days, I'm gonna have no typos.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was,
that's not gonna happen. Tough group downstairs.
It's a tough crowd, man.
I had a question on page 2 for the third whereas, pardon me, the last sentence would be mostly sold off-site, though larger orders may be picked up on-site. Did we decide at a prearranged time? Did the applicant say that would be prearranged? Any pickup orders on-site would be prearranged?
I believe that was a condition of approval, that they would be.
I
Let me
think
see.
we created a time window.
Yeah, we had it
that's
Yeah,
in
it's
there,
fine.
the
It's
window's
in there.
in
The
there.
the time window is there, and then only one pickup
at a time.
at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought we had said
I
prearranged.
think that covers it.
And that would, if that is a change, it would have to be made on page 4, the last line, other than prearranged order pickups.
The other one.
Still would be in that same delivery window with
Yeah,
one
Yeah,
per
within the
pickup.
window.
Yes.
It's just the word prearranged or not.
I
Semantics.
believe it was the representation of the applicant that was gonna be
I don't
arranged
have
ahead of time.
Right.
So I don't see any issues with it.
I
I
don't have an
mean,
issue
yeah.
with it.
let me ask, because their attorney's in attendance, Mr. Zelli, do you have any issues to adding the word prearranged anywhere in this resolution?
Well, that one's not working.
Is it on?
Nice and loudly. Fred
All right.
Maselli, Post Politics, on behalf of the applicant, I have no objection to the change.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Zelli, appreciate it. Okay, so we can add that to condition,
Prearranged pickup.
yeah, so condition 5 on page 5, at the top, the hours of order pickups shall be limited to 10 to
No, I
7.
think it's here.
And
Uh,
Other than
Oh, yeah,
prearranged
oh, I see what
order
you're saying, yeah,
pickup.
perfect, okay, yeah, so scratch that.
page 2 also, page 2 and
Oh,
page 5.
maybe more than one place.
Okay, so page 2, fourth whereas clause, last line, insert the word prearranged after the word though. So would be mostly sold off-site, though prearranged, larger orders may be picked up on-site. And then page 4, item, Roman numeral 3 at the bottom, other than prearranged order pickups, no retail activity shall occur on the property. Sound good?
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
On page 4, next to last line, other than prearranged order pickups.
Yep, that's what you're saying.
That's what you-
And on page 2, the larger orders may be picked up on-site when prearranged or prearranged orders.
I think prearranged orders.
Yeah.
Okay.
so- And I got
Good.
those.
Any other comments?
No.
Questions? Do I hear a motion to approve this amended resolution?
I motion to approve the resolution as amended.
I'll second.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, so we have a motion by Mr. Hands and second by Bob.
okay, Mr. Hands,
Yes.
Mr. Lavarevere,
Yes.
Ms. Ogins,
Yes.
Chairman Richardson,
Yes.
and Vice Chairman Jones.
Yes,
Motion carries.
Great, thank you. Okay, we have two ordinances before us this evening for master plan consistency review. I wondered if, Chris, you could just outline again, just real quickly, briefly for the board, what we are to review here and approve.
Absolutely, Mr. Chairman. So, yes, we call this master plan consistency review. I would suggest we take them one at a time. So before you are two ordinances that have been introduced by the governing body on first reading as part of the MLUL's process for adopting land use ordinances. The second step in that process is for the ordinance to come to the planning board to make a determination as to whether or not the ordinance is consistent, or not inconsistent with the township's master plan. That's the standard, not inconsistent. So it's not technically a public hearing, though, up to the discretion of the board if it wants to allow some public comment, though the idea is that the public comment period is at second reading before the governing body, so that's really about it. And from what I understand, I think both of these ordinances originated from the board, so you guys
Correct.
probably already seen them.
Yes,
That is correct.
correct.
Okay, thanks, Chris.
My pleasure.
All right, so let's discuss the first ordinance. That's ordinance 576-25. This is an ordinance amending section 124.1 of the Township Land Use Ordinance regarding apartments in business zones. Any questions or comments about this? Again, all of you should have seen.
And it was presented the way that we wrote it, correct, in the end? Yes.
I have a comment. I think the title business zones is not very clear, since business zones also include the BDO, LIP, and several overlay zones. So I propose that the title be regarding apartments in villages and hamlet, since this addresses villages and hamlet.
Good catch.
To say business zone is too broad.
It's,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. So, I think they're doing that, Ms. Hogan. So, the title of the ordinance is business zones, but if you look at the text, they're changing it from apartments in business zones to apartments in village and hamlet zones.
Should we do that in the title of the ordinance as well? Shouldn't we?
No,
do-
No,
because that's the
the
original.
title is announcing the change. You
We can't-
follow?
You can't change something that hasn't been changed.
So
The
the title of the
title-
ordinance can't be changed.
No,
That's not the title of the ordinance.
That's the introduction, it's
That's-
the original title,
It's
then we
referring
change
to the,
it.
it's
Yeah.
referring to the present state before the future amendment.
Right.
That's the current state.
Okay, so
You've,
the.
So
text
look
is-
down below for,
Yeah, I
those are
see
gonna
that.
be the zone changes.
Which we crossed out,
Yep,
um,
yeah, it's showing you the track changes.
apartments and business / village and hamlet zones. So even though it says business zones, it doesn't have to be consistent.
well, the ordinance now is
Business
apartments and business zones.
It's gonna be there.
So you, what are they changing? They're changing the apartments and business zones ordinance.
They changed the ordinance.
They can't change the ordinance, that
The
hasn't
same
changed.
ordinance they just changed.
specific business zones, not all business zones, but I yield to your expertise.
Okay.
No, I mean, it is wording, I'll given, it's a little confusing, you know, with the title and then the changes. But
But just
It
for
is
clarity,
correct.
just for clarity, the reference here on the agenda is to the current ordinance that is on the books.
Correct.
So that's the one we're going to amend, and then we will submit it back, once we do our not inconsistent review of this ordinance, it will go back to the TC, and there we'll see the name change take place, because it'll take on the new name, which is then referencing the villages and hamlets, which is what you are going to, what you've just brought up,
So it'll be changed at a later date.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Got it,
once it's adopted.
got it.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, great. So I think we need then a motion
Yep, motions.
to, for, that this particular ordinance, 576-25 is not inconsistent with the 2023 master plan.
So moved.
Second.
Right, and just to note, Deb will have we have a template ordinance that you guys have, or not, a template resolution that we've used before to transmit to the governing body, so it would just be,
It's connected to the agenda.
oh, it's there, right?
Yep.
Perfect, yeah. So then, yeah, adopting that resolution as well would be part of the motion.
Okay, I'll do the roll call. Committeeman Lavender,
Yes.
Mr. Hands,
Yes.
Mr. Laverio,
Yes.
Ms. Ogins,
Yes,
and Vice Chairman Jones,
Yes.
Chairman Richardson.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great. Okay, our next ordinance for master plan consistency review is ordinance number 577-25. This is an ordinance amending the township land use ordinance regarding the remaining of the single-family residential, village and hamlet and light industrial zone districts, and amending, supplementing, repealing, and revising the land use ordinance to reflect the renamed zones. I will open this up for questions or comments.
It's fairly straightforward, it's just relabeling zone names, so fairly straightforward.
I guess it's my night to make comments. I found the strike-throughs confusing, and not,
Yeah, it had to do with the font.
not
Yeah, I think
You,
it's-
you picked up on that when you read it.
missing in some areas.
It looks like a 2, and then there's a 4,
And then the strike-through looks like it
through
goes
more
to the
than one
4.
Yeah, that's right.
number
Yep.
And such, so I propose that, that perhaps in the changing of each of the names of the zones, that we keep the old one with an asterisk, and then clarify by asterisk what the new name is, and I'll be happy to write that up for you, rather than strike-throughs.
I'm against that, simply because there is a template in the master plan that articulates what the old and what the new is.
That's true.
The strike-throughs won't exist in the ordinance
Correct.
once
Right,
the
right,
ordinance is
correct,
adopted.
correct,
The strike-throughs are just simply to show what's been changed,
I
what
agree.
would change.
So as
So-
Tom said, the table kind of makes it all clear anyway.
Yeah.
So this isn't what the way.
Oh,
it's not
no,
the
No,
way-
no,
That's
the
the dirty
crossouts
version.
and the underlines won't,
Okay.
won't know.
No. I-
That would be very confusing.
Was not aware
Yeah.
that this is the
Yeah.
dirty version.
Right.
I also,
That's supposed to be the clear version for you.
not to my eyes.
You're not alone there.
I also, because this is the dirty version, maybe this will change also, that when we enumerate the zone districts, that we do columns with the old and the new, and the explanation but that probably will be taken care of with the lack of strike-throughs.
I think it'll be clear, I mean, that's in the master plan, what is the old ordinance name, or what the old zone name, and what is proposed to be
Right.
changed to. It's not really appropriate in the ordinance. I mean, really what your task here is tonight is to determine whether what you have before you is not inconsistent with what's in the master plan.
Right.
And it, basically, the zone changes were listed in the master plan.
So for historical purposes, we can use the master plan to see what the
Correct.
old were.
Yes.
I'm sure there were previously named versions of the zones that we don't know what they are anymore. We can always lean on Dennis, who can probably articulate that back to us. But this, I just want to reiterate, this is the first step in starting the renaming of the zones in accordance to the master plan. This is going to impact other ordinances where the old name is reflected and the new name needs to be reflected. This is also going to springboard the zoning map, so you're going to start to see that. The next thing after this is we're going to take a look at those parcels of land that are kind of islands in the zones to bring them into the appropriate zone. So that is just a little additional information for you, the board, as well as the public. But this is the very first step in starting that process.
And just to piggyback on that, one of the reasons we had to do this portion was because of the renaming of the first ordinance that you looked at tonight, because it mentioned zones that we're proposing to change the name of. So why do it twice? You know, essentially, we're putting new standards for 124.1, so we thought we should have the correct references that we're gonna change the zones to. So
This
that's
is only the
that-
starting block.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and I had sent you comments,
Yes.
Tom, too.
Yes.
That there's a mismatch where it says zone residential versus residential zone. There's different zones in the two nomenclatures.
We'll pick that up as we go through these ordinances, as we touch them.
So you've read
In the
what I
future
sent you?
ordinances, that is correct.
Okay, good, so that change will be made. And just the last
It's a
thing,
gift that'll keep on giving.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll
The trickle
be
down
looking
effect.
at this for a while.
Yeah.
And then I just propose too, that when we do separate it out, just to make it easier to read, if we can, to separate the overlay zones from the true zones. But that's just for a matter of clarity for anyone who's reading it. It's not critical.
Some of those, as you're pointing out, will change over time. So for instance, the Tifa site, that will change from an LI zone into, it's right now an overlay zone, right? So that'll take on that because it'll no longer be an LI zone.
It, so
Or whatever
we'll
it's going to
no
be.
longer have an overlay?
It's a light industry right now, until
Right.
it changes into, once construction starts to go there and it's no longer an light industry zone. It'll be a multi-purpose, I forget what the name of that is, but
LU-O. But it was my understanding that that's an overlay.
it is an overlay,
It's not a change of zone. It's the zone is
'Cause that's what
remaining
the
the
future
same
will be.
with an overlay.
because that's what the future will be. So
But
you'll see some of this.
we're not changing the overlay at this
No.
point.
No.
No,
Okay.
that'll be a future.
Okay, any other comments?
Nope.
Questions?
Nope.
Tom, would you like the honor to make a motion?
And there was no amendments, right?
I don't think so.
No.
We're good.
Motion to approve ordinance 577-25 as not inconsistent with the master plan.
So moved. And second.
Okay. Vice Chairman Jones?
Yes.
Committeeman Lavender?
Yes.
Mr. Hands?
Yes.
Mr. Lavarerio?
Yes.
Ms. Ojins?
Yes.
Chairman Richardson?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Excellent.
So, Mr. Chair, I appreciate everyone's due diligence in this beginning step of a larger process. I just want to say I appreciate everyone's hard work and even the extra questions that we're having here. So,
Great.
thank you.
Well, thank you for leading us down the path to getting all this consistent with the master plan. Okay, we are moving right along to our application this evening. This is an application for a minor subdivision with variances. This application was carried from September 9th, 2025. This is for block 10202, lot 12, zone R-2. This is the 53 Indian Run and Heritage Road, application number 25-19P. Here, the applicant is proposing to subdivide the property into 2 building lots and construct 2 single-family residences.
Mr. Chairman, I'll just point
Yes.
out for the record, the applicant here did notice, actually for the September 9th, 2025 meeting, we did adjourn it, and the matter was carried to this evening with no further notice being required. Everything was done properly ahead of the September 9th meeting, so the board so is the jurisdiction to hear and decide the case in my legal opinion. Just need to get that out there. And I'll turn it over to Mr. Zelli and let him do his introduction, and then we'll get going.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board, board professionals, members of the community, thank you all for attending. Frederick Zelli, Post Pollock, on behalf of the applicants this evening. This is an application for minor subdivision approval.
into the mic, please.
I don't know if that mic's working. We
I
gotta,
see a light on.
is it working now?
Fred, just kind of turn it up a little bit.
Get it closer to my person. Is that better?
There you go.
Yes, much better.
Thank you.
Again, this is for application of Freddie Espinoza and Dina Barba. The property is Indian Run and Heritage Roads corner. It's your block 10202, lot 12, in your R2 zone. It's an application for minor subdivision approval with bulk variances to subdivide the property into 2 building lots, to raise the existing structures on the property, which consist of a residence, a shed, and a detached garage, and to construct 2 single-family residences. Subject property is the remainder lot from a cluster major subdivision named Millington Knolls that was approved by this board back in 1977. Copy of the filed map for the subdivision is included in our application materials, and one of our witnesses will be discussing that this evening as well. Prior to that subdivision, the property was a private farm which hosted the existing structures. Pursuant to the cluster subdivision approval, 20 lots were created, all but one of which is the subject lot, are significantly undersized for the zone. The balance of the land was dedicated to the township as open space and remained such, hence the nature of a cluster application. The applicants proposed to divide the property into 2 lots. Under our revised plan, and I'll reference back, the original plan showed the 2 homes, one facing on Heritage, one facing on Indian Run. Now we have them both facing on Indian Run, which addressed some issues with the original plan. I'll also just mention offhand that the sizes of both homes are significantly less than was originally planned. Each lot will be substantially larger than all but one of the 19 lots created in 1977. Only lot 16, which is 0.97 acres, is even close to the R2 zone's 1 acre required lot size. Existing lots 10.1 through 10.12 are all less than 0.6 acres. And lots 9, 10, 0.13, 11, 13, 14, and 15 are all 0.7 acres or less in area. Our proposed lots, while still less than the 1 acre, are significantly larger than all of the existing lots except for lot 16, as I mentioned. Our proposed lot 1201 is 0.94 acres, close to the required 1 acre, and our proposed lot 12.02 is 0.82 acres. Accordingly, our proposed lots are fully consistent, in fact greater than consistent from a lot area perspective, with the scheme of the neighborhood as it was designed in 1977. Similarly, each proposed lot's front yard will be less than is required in the R2 zone, but will nonetheless be larger than those of the other lots in the neighborhood. And the lot width for proposed 12.02 will also be less than required in the zone, but again, it will be larger than those of the surrounding lots. Our revised design eliminates any need for a variance for disturbance of steep slopes. It does require a variance for distance from the house to the steep slopes. Although the distance is improved with the existing condition, right now we have the building actually in the steep slopes, and we are going to at least have 8 feet in between, so we're going from 0 to 8. So certainly a marked improvement from what exists now. Finally, while the original design would have required a D1 use variance for the home on proposed lot 1201, would have had to be in front of the Board of Adjustment, the revised design only calls for bulk variance, and this is for height. In that particular building, it's because of the slope, and because your ordinance, as you know, measures height from the lowest possible spot to the top, as opposed to from an average grade, which is actually more common. But again, we are only going to be at a C variance level, and our design professionals will give a little more detail about where we are in terms of the actual Ms. Laney identified another variance in her report for having home designs that are virtually identical aesthetically from the exterior. But Ms. Palermo, our architect, will present a revised design for one of the houses in order to address this issue. I have two witnesses this evening, William Hollows, our engineer, Jennifer Palermo, our architect. One of our applicants, Ms. Barbara, is also present this evening, but I'm not intending to elicit a direct testimony from her. And unless anyone has questions for me, I'd ask that the witnesses be sworn.
Bring them
Please.
both up. We'll do them all at once. Okay, all four of you raise your right hands for me. Do all four of you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, great. And before we go any further, just want to ask a question. Are there any attorneys in the audience? Is anybody represented by an attorney and objecting to this application? Seeing none. Okay. Good to go.
To start with Mr. Hollows. Hollows, you've been in front of this board a few times, but just for the record, would you please give us your credentials?
Yes, excuse me. William Hollows from Murphy and Hollows Associates. My business address is 192 Central Avenue in Sterling. I am a licensed professional engineer, land surveyor, and planner in the state of New Jersey. And I have appeared before this board and the zoning board in Long Hill Township.
Ask that Mr. Hollows be accepted as an expert in the field of civil engineering.
Any objection?
No.
You're good.
Board, for the record, you've been provided with a packet of photographs. I will indicate for the record that I personally took the photographs several months ago, obviously prior to the filing of the application. They did accurately portray what was present at the time, so subject to seasonal differences, I believe they're still accurate, but I'm going to ask Mr. Hollows to take us through them based upon his familiarity with the property.
Photo number 1 is standing at the edge of Heritage Road, looking up at the existing structure. And I'll just go to sheet 2 on the drawings. If, you know, it's probably easier. This is a rendered drawing. And
Should we mark that as an exhibit since it's colorized?
yeah, and that would be A1.
So
And
exhibit
colorized sheet what, Bill?
Sheet 2. And I have for the board the exhibits that we're going to actually.
If you want, Mr. Zolli, why don't we go through all the exhibits now, and then that way I don't have to stop in the middle.
We can do that.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, just go to that.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so Exhibit A1 is the colorized version of Sheet 2 of the submitted site plan set, last revised September 24th, 2025. Original date, May 19th, 2025. I'm presuming this is Exhibit A2 that you guys would want to introduce. It's, Sheet 4, or a colorized version of Sheet 4 of 5 of the submitted minor subdivision plan set, last revised date, September 24th, 2025. Original date, May 19th, 2025. And Exhibit A3, a highlighted version of Sheet 4 of 5 of the subdivision plan set that you guys submitted, revision date, September 24th, 2025. Original date, May 19th, 2025.
So I think
Vice versa.
I don't have that right in front of me, so they're both sheet 4?
Revision
The last two?
September,
Oh, did I say the
original
other way
date
around?
May,
Right.
revision September on all documents you referenced.
Correct. Thanks, Joe. Sorry if I got tongue twisted there. Was there anything else you guys wanted to submit as exhibits as well, or is it just these three?
There are rules. So A4 would be a copy of the 1977 map of Millington Mills, the recorded map.
That's a plan sheet, I'm
It's a
assuming?
filed map
Okay.
of the cluster subdivision.
Okay.
And then A5, which we'll bring in through our architect, our revised plans showing the changes in order to portray the difference in the two houses.
Okay, awesome. We'll give that one today's date. What is it, the 14th?
Ten five.
10/5, okay. Thanks, Mr. Shelley. Just wanted to get all that out of the way so we don't have to stop in the middle
Appreciated that.
of the proceedings here. Okay.
Okay, we're back to the photographs, and we have a drawing that we can actually reference and show you where the photographs were taken. Photo number 1 would be standing somewhere on the edge of Heritage Road, looking up at the existing structure. It shows the existing house and existing shed. And in the background, you can see a little bit of the existing garage. Photograph number 2 is basically in the same location, looking directly at the house structure. Again, you can see the house structure, you can see the shed, and to the rear is the garage. Photograph number 3 is similar to 2, it's just that you're a little bit closer to the existing structure. It's the view from Heritage Road looking north. Photograph number 4 is pretty much like almost standing at the, just a little bit up Indian Road, looking at what would be the front of the house and that faces Indian Road, and then the house, the side of the house that's facing Heritage Road. And in the background, you've got another view of the shed. Photograph number 5. It's looking directly from Indian Run at the front of the house. Photo number 6 is back at standing at the intersection of Indian Run and Heritage Road and looking at an angle towards the house. You're looking at a northeasterly direction at that point. Photograph number 7 is standing in Indian Run, and looking directly at the front of the house. Photograph number 8 is a little further up Indian Run, looking at the driveway entrance, and then you can see just to the right is the house, and about in the center of the photograph is the garage. Photograph number 9 is a photo of the garage standing in a driveway, about where the intersection of the driveway is and the back out area into the garage. Photograph number 10 is standing in the driveway near the garage, looking at the side of the house and what I would call the back of the house. And you can see the roof of the shed, and you can see one of the homes across the street of Heritage Road. Photograph number 11 is standing in Indian Run, looking in a northerly direction up the street. To the right, you can see there's a box there. That's the mailbox for the house on the subject property, and that's where the driveway goes into the property. Photograph number 12 is standing in Heritage Road, facing in a westerly direction towards the intersection just to the midway up that photograph on the right. You can see the homes there along Heritage Road. Photograph number 13 is, you turn around and you look in the easterly direction, up Heritage Road. The gray house that's in that photograph on the left, towards the left side, is the adjoining property to the subject property.
Thank you, Mr. Hollows. Would you now take us through the existing conditions?
Yes. Existing conditions, known as 53 Indian Run. It is block 10202, lot 12. It's positioned at the intersection of Heritage Road and Indian Run, and be on the northeasterly side of that intersection. The property contains 76,392 square feet, or 1.75 acres. Approximately 250 feet deep by 295 feet wide. It's improved with a frame dwelling, which you saw quite a few pictures of. You've got a garage, you've got a shed on that property, and you've got a paved driveway that comes in off of Indian Run, more towards the northerly side of that property. The property is in the R2 zone. And this property was part of a cluster development. Some people call it cluster, some density modification, whereas you could reduce the size of the lot in half. You could reduce the size of the lot width. Instead of 150, you could go down to 100 feet. And the setbacks were set at 50 feet, a reduction from 75 feet. So that's important because the streetscape for all existing houses on Indian Run and Heritage Road have 50-foot setbacks.
When that's done, Bill, what is the trade-off? Why is that allowed?
Because in this instance, the town received approximately 20 acres of land. You've got 10 on one side and 10 and change in Okay. All right. Sorry about that.
where you are and don't move.
Yeah, don't go any
No
closer.
idea what to do with that.
Never get too close to an attorney, you should know better.
God for engineers.
So the town in this instance got 20 acres of land.
Here he goes.
It was, doesn't really show. I do have a drawing which is actually the subdivision done in 1977. And I can show you where that land was dedicated to the town. Basically for open space, although there's a detention basin on the property and there's a sewer pump station on the property.
Mr. Hollis, this is Exhibit A4 you're referring to?
If you haven't
I
already,
didn't.
Bill, let's mark that as A4.
It's, okay, it's A4. The property, again, is at the intersection of Indian Road and Heritage Road. Indian Run and Heritage Road, I'm sorry. And the town received land on the south side of Heritage Road. And that was 9.4 acres. And they also got some land dedicated to them, which is 10.6 acres. So you've got 20 acres that was dedicated to the town for open space.
And Bill, just for the record, the subject property, although larger than any of the other created lots, was not part of the give back to the town, was not to be created as a parkland or anything or open space. That was just remained as the remainder lot, still privately owned at the time.
That's correct.
Okay.
What the applicant would like to do, if everyone's clear on what's existing conditions, what the applicant would like to do
And this is Exhibit A2 you're referring to?
A2.
Okay, gotcha.
Would be to remove the existing structures on the property, the house, the shed, the garage, subdivide the property into 2 new building lots, and put 2 houses up, 2 new homes on that property. The corner lot we've got designated as 12.01 would contain 40,761 square feet. So it's a little less than an acre. And again, the density modification allowable would be 22,000.
Maybe wires are getting crossed. I mean, that's what it is.
He's had this problem.
They need to come back.
Do you wanna, you wanna unplug this?
My God.
Should Fred and Bill just share that mic?
It's gonna happen. Do you want us to share a microphone? You don't think so? Okay.
It's embarrassing.
Can we give Fred the mic that's on the dais up there, maybe?
Yeah.
At least take one of them out of the equation?
Yeah, yours is on, mine's on.
Is that one off now?
Yeah.
Unplugged.
Let's try this. Bill, before we go any further, let me just clarify something. I think I misstated at the beginning. This is a 1 acre zone. It's technically a 45,000 square foot zone.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
That's
Thank
why
you.
you can split it in half at 22,500. It is R2 is a 45,000 square foot zone. We meet the lot width requirements for the R2 zone on this, the corner lot. And we're also going to set the house at 25 feet off the side yard lot line, which was also the requirement for an R2 zone. What we're seeking is a front yard variance and the lot area variance, because, again, as I said before, the important thing is the streetscape here. If we were to push this house back to 75 feet, when you drive down the street, you'd have houses at 50, and then all of a sudden you've got houses set back quite a distance further than the existing houses in the neighborhood. We also would meet the rear yard setback. So we're looking at a lot area and a lot front yard setback requirement on this corner lot.
Is that 2 front yard setback variances? One for each?
Yes,
Right.
yes, it would be.
Okay.
But can I just ask very quickly, you got yes to lot width, but you just said it conforms?
Well,
There's a variance on the...
no, the lot width, we have more than 150 feet for lot width. It's really the setback in the lot area.
Heritage.
The lot width on 1202.
Is he still talking about the first one?
Yeah, he's talking about the corner
The
one.
corner, the
You're only
interior
talking about
lot.
the corner lot right now. Yeah, yeah.
The interior lot, which we've labeled 12.02, has a lot, proposed lot size of 35,631 square feet. So that would require a variance under the R2 zone, but substantially larger than the cluster allowable. And it would have a 143-foot wide lot, so it wouldn't require a variance for lot width, where 150 feet is required in the R2 zone. And again, we're looking for that front yard setback.
And again, Bill, these front yard setbacks and that lot width, all of these are in excess of what the lots under the cluster zone have, is that correct?
Yes, under the cluster zone, you're allowed 50-foot front yard setback and 100-foot lot width. And again, we're trying to, the rear yard setback would be fine, and we're, to give some space between the lots, and then since they are oversized lots, we're showing the side yards to meet the R2 zone of 25 feet.
Okay, so if I could just pause you guys real quick, just
Yeah.
to keep score. So for 12.01, variance is being sought, lot area, westerly front yard setback, southerly front yard setback, I guess we'll get to that with the architect, the building height, and then the setback of the critical areas, which I'm sure you're gonna get to. And then for 12.02, it's lot area, lot width, front yard setback, and then building height again, right? Is that it, as far as variances go?
Yes, but I believe strongly that I can adjust a little bit of the site grading to make that lot height go away for the interior lot, that variance.
Or for the building height for 12.02? So we'll put that maybe on.
Both of them?
And that's a good question, or a good comment, because we are seeking a height variance for the corner lot. And it's really because the lot falls off, it's in a slope.
Right.
So we're, instead of 35 feet, we're seeking a 38-foot
Right.
variance. And it's really just the one corner. The rest of the house would comply. And there is this triangular area behind the house on the corner is a steep slope area. We're going to propose to disturb it slightly, but well under the allowable that we are allowed under the ordinance to disturb a steep slope.
And what's the difference between the slopes and the current buildings and the slopes and the proposed building?
Pretty much stay the same.
Aren't we zero in the sleeps with the shed, I believe it is?
The shed sits right in the steep slope.
That's what I'm saying, so we don't have any setback at all. Under existing conditions, we're gonna have 8.6 feet or so with the
Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, the shed was in the steep slope area, and then there's this one little spot to the rear of the house from the deck to the steep slopes that were not 10 feet away.
And can you take us through the drainage on the site as proposed?
Yeah, that's, I think you have this as an exhibit. Unfortunately for me, when these plans were printed out, a layer of the CAD work did not come on, and that layer showed the dry well system. But what I'm proposing is a dry well system that will take the water from the roof of the house and store 4 inches of rainfall from the roof of the house into 3 dry wells on each lot.
Just for the record, Bill, is this A3?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to get to
Yeah.
that. I don't want to
Okay.
interrupt him, yes.
And from those dry well systems, since there's an existing storm drainage system in the street on Heritage Road and Indian Run, we're going to have an overflow system. So if the dry wells were to overflow in a really heavy rain event, that it would go into the storm drainage system that's in the street and then get carried away.
And that is something that's permitted, we're not seeking relief to be able to do that, correct?
No, that's something that's permitted. And we would put a small private easement across, a 10-foot wide easement across the front of the 12.01 so that we can carry that pipe down to the corner
From lot 1202.
from 1202.
Got it.
Yes.
Bill, just to stay on that point, if the overflows did not directly connect for the northerly lot, the overflow by grade would be into the curb line and into the gutter for approximately 150 feet to that same structure.
Yes, that would be
Right.
correct.
So we're eliminating the potential icing condition in the winter by making a direct connection.
Yeah, yes, that's one way to look at it. And also, for percolation, if we do not have a decent percolation for the system, we could still use the dry wells, drain them through a small orifice to drain the dry wells out.
Okay.
There's enough
So you
depth.
can use them as detention if they don't infiltrate within 72 hours?
Yes.
When you do testing later?
Yes.
Okay. And then for the southerly lot, the direct connection, alternative to that, the overland pattern would be easterly to the next basin, some 100+ feet
Yeah, it's
down Heritage instead.
It's down Heritage at the
So
end of the
yeah, so
adjoining
the
lot.
overflows are making direct connection to eliminate the encumbrance into the road system.
That's correct. We were fortunate enough to be able to do that in this instance. And I think it makes a better project all in all.
And just for the record, you mentioned that for 1201, we are going to have a height variance, and that is primarily due to the way the ordinance is in this town, that it goes from the lowest point rather than the average grade, correct?
Correct.
Is it fair to say that if we did take it from the average grade, there would not be a need for a height variance?
Most likely not.
Okay, thank you.
Now, I think we get up to the planner's letter. Some comments. And
Ms. Lehaney's October 10th letter?
that's correct. I think we've gone over number 2 in that review letter, has to do with building height, and I think we've gone over that. I feel confident that we can make the interior lot comply with a 35-foot height. And we are still seeking the variance because of the slope on the property at that one corner.
I think also the comment relates to discrepancy between the architectural plans and the.
We will straighten that out.
Okay.
Item number 3 has to do with critical areas. The
No, let me
crit-
just, because this is important to have it on the record, there's no scenario where we would be more than 10%. It would be 38.5, which would take us up to a D variance. Is that correct?
No.
Okay.
Number 3 has to do with critical areas, comment on critical areas, and on this property of 1.75 acres, there's 3,137 square feet of steep slopes, and that's this odd-shaped, triangular-shaped segment. That proposed lot has 40,761 square feet, so minusing the 3137 gives us 37,624 square feet, and that's all contiguous because the way the critical area is, it's in the middle of the lot, so you've got a lot of contiguous area around that. And there are no steep slopes criteria on the interior lot. I think item number 4 is an architectural question. Item number 5 has to do with landscaping. At this point, we don't have a landscaping plan, but there are a lot of circles on this property, a lot of circles. If you've been out to the site, I would say that a good part, especially the trees along Indian Run, are in decline. There's a lot of evergreens where they're competing for sun, and there's not a whole lot of needles on those trees. My thoughts were to replace what we were going to take out along Indian Run with new street shade trees, and also along Heritage Road with new street. There's really not much along Heritage Run. There's a big open space of lawn there, And we could put shade trees in that area. There would obviously be some foundation plantings, which is typically ornamental trees and shrubs along the front of the house. And then, let's say the corner lot, the one on Indian Heritage Road, would also need some landscaping along that side of the house.
And for the record, we would be fine with a condition that the landscaping be subject to a committee or to a designated professional.
Who wants to volunteer?
He does.
This guy.
That
was quick.
We'll
That's right in
jump
your lap.
to the comment in my letter to kind of rough that out. I had identified about 46 trees on private property, between 6-inch and 36-inch from your plans. One tree, 8-inch, within the Indian Run right-of-way, which is in conflict with the southerly home's driveway. So that southerly, that one tree, be subject to, the rights of a township tree for replacement. The others would be subject to the tree removal registration for our lot, which I
Right.
think has restrictions on each year. How many can be removed in a year, which you are in excess of in 1 year. I think if you split them in two and put them over both lots, so I think some form of replacement mitigation would be appropriate, and which is what you've essentially stipulated to. So we can work on that landscaping being ornamental to the tree, the streetscape on both Indian and Heritage, consistent with the development, and then, like you said, I would look at that bare area of the site that exists now, which would provide some rear screening for anyone that lives east on Heritage.
Right. That's perfectly
And
acceptable.
then that'd be something, if the board were to approve this application, when we did the plot plan for a building permit, we could add it on to the plot plans.
Okay.
I think you're at 6 on Ms. Laney's.
AC units would be in the rear of the house, thinking behind the garage in that general area for the AC units. I don't know at this time whether they're going to have a generator.
Would you stipulate that they would be screened either through landscaping or fencing, especially from the
Yes.
public view?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And Bill, just for the record, we are nowhere near having coverage issues, so the addition of those types of features would not affect coverage. Or it'll affect coverage, but it won't put us into a variance
Correct.
situation.
That kind of goes to item number 7 also. The comment was to have a walkway from the driveway around to the back, because there are some steps that go down to a basement entrance. And that would be something, again, if the board were to approve this application, that we could add as part of the plot plan, or we could add it as part of compliance. Either way, I think we could do it.
We can stipulate to that.
Is that on both lots or just 12.01?
No, both of them have it.
Gotcha.
Number 8, we have sewer connections, or will have sewer connections.
There is one existing sewer connection to the house, and that is from the existing structure to Heritage Road. We're not proposing a septic system. We understand that hopefully after many years, there will be some sewer connections available in the near future.
But even under the existing rules on a minor subdivision, we're allowed to have a second one, correct? Okay.
Yes.
Correct. The creation of the new lot for the number of bedrooms would fall below the threshold. So you would qualify for connection now during the moratorium.
Right, thank you.
And number 9 is an architectural question. And number 10, Fred, do you want to?
So we have not had direct connection with the historical committee. We are certainly happy to accommodate them in any way of documentation. They can have access to the site to memorialize whatever they would want. That's certainly not a problem. I don't know if this committee ever wishes to take actual items or portions of anything architectural. Whatever they would like to do, we will certainly work with them. We have no problem with that being a condition of approval.
Just for the record, I just want to make sure it's clear, because we've got some different committees. This would be the Historic Preservation Advisory Committee that would provide that input.
Okay, thank you.
And just to mention, I think previously they've just taken photos of the property before it's,
That's our understanding, but as
not-
I said, if there's anything that they see that they
yeah.
would like to
right.
preserve for a museum or something like that, that's perfectly fine as well.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too intrusive.
Is there any historical significance with the property?
According to Ms. Lane's report, it is designated as Category 1 Significant Historical Value.
Is that because of the age?
It's because of the age, it goes back, it's cited as being part of the Daniel Carley Farm Manager House, constructed circa 1850. I'm simply reading that from Ms. Laney's report. We have not done any exploration of that ourselves. It's not protected in any way from development or anything along those lines.
Understood. Thank you.
And Mr. Hollis, is there anything further to address on Mr. Vucci's report?
I think I hit upon to me, the two big items, I think, were the storm drainage. And
Yes.
may need to add a note that he's asking for leaf gutter guards of some sort for the gutters so that the leaves don't get in there, which does tend to foul up the drywalls if you have continual leaves getting in there, but
We can agree to that, stipulate to that?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had the standard subdivision comments you're familiar with in your applications in front of me. Stipulations on 3.2, 3.3, 3.4, 3.5, and 3.6, which is, monumentation, meets and bounds coordination before they're recorded on both the lots and on the easement, coordination with the tax assessor on the lot designation, and then AutoCAD files for tax map updates. Under technical review, 4.1 stipulated regarding the tree replacement of what we just discussed. 4.2, 4.3, and 4.4 are essentially just factual statements for the board's understanding. So 4.5, 4, 6, 7 through 10 would be the stipulations. Again, those are common stipulations to our approvals at the zoning board, and then also if a subdivision like this, regarding some of our township standards. And then 5.1 being outside agency soil erosion. And that would, everything else was covered in the testimony.
Mr. Hollis, just for the record, we can stipulate to 4.6 through 4.10.
Yes, excuse me, yes.
Thank you.
And the other ones too, right?
Yeah.
What's the question for the applicant? You guys are going to have the other ones, 3.2 through 3.6?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
No further questions for Mr. Hollows at this time.
I just have one.
Yeah, I want to open it up to the board. Are Liz and Joe,
I'm okay.
are you good
I'm
with your
fine.
questions? Okay, great. Yes, please. I'd like to open it up to the board.
Just one quick clarification. You mentioned about the setback on Indian Run existing today of 50 feet on average, not this property, but the other properties were 50 feet, correct?
Yes.
I didn't hear, did you say the same about Heritage Road as well?
Yes, that's part of the subdivision that was created. That was the setback.
So it's on both roads?
Yes.
Right, thank you. Just want to clarify.
I just had a question. In the planner's report, did we address point number 4 with the no windows on the second floor of the residence? Was
That's
that-
an architectural question, and they'll
Address it later?
address that, yes.
Got it.
I have a question on the dry well drainage system. Do you have any kind of guesstimate as to where the water table is in this area? And if a dry well is going to be appropriate?
We haven't done soil logs to this point, but what we could do, if we needed to do, we could shorten the dry wells up. Typically, they come in 3-foot sections, and typically you use the 6-foot. But we could use 3-foot sections, and that would only be down below the ground about 4.5 feet to the bottom of the dry well.
So I guess along with drainage, what is the incremental effect with this proposed development on drainage to this area, the neighborhood?
There shouldn't be any effect to the neighborhood in the sense that the existing house, all the roof and the garage and the driveway, there's no stormwater management system. All the roof leaders come down and they just go out on the ground. I think we're taking it a much better step with the system that we're proposing, and the fact that we can get it into the storm drainage system that goes down Heritage Road, and then it goes down towards the river.
And have you reviewed to see if there is evidence of flooding? I saw, Joe, that this doesn't hit a flood hazard zone.
Correct.
But do you have any evidence of flooding in this particular neighborhood? Have you looked into that with your
I have.
vast experience in the town?
In past experience, I have not noted any problems. I mean, there may be times when under heavy rainfall where there's water in the street before it gets into the storm drainage system and then drains off. But it generally slopes all from Valley Road down to Heritage Road. I would call this a modern subdivision, basically, because it has a nice storm drainage system in it already, as opposed to some of the older subdivisions in town. And it is collected, and it goes through a detention basin and out towards the river.
So there's further detention downstream of the public road collection system.
That's my understanding, yes.
Mr. Hollis, just to put maybe a finer point on it, if we compare uncaptured drainage between the existing condition where everything is uncaptured to what we are looking at under the proposed plan, we're actually reducing. We still have a net reduction.
Yeah, there would be, actually, because everything's free from the existing system.
Okay, thank you.
Just one
Other
clar-
questions, comments? Yes, please.
Not to harp on the setbacks, but the northern property could be set back further. The corner lot probably hits a critical slope. But my point is, you said 50 feet is a variance, right?
Yes.
But that's more, if I can phrase it this way, that's more in keeping with the rest of the properties in the neighborhood.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned the word streetscape. It kind of matches what's there already. So when you drive down the street, the houses are, right now, they're all lined up.
So technically, the northern one, you could probably move back if you had to, but
Yes, I
you're
could.
keeping it in keeping with the neighborhood, which is
Yeah.
why you're going to keep, you went with 52 feet.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, 52. Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, regarding the southern property, there's a sidewalk that runs along Heritage, all the way to the corner of Heritage and Indian. It doesn't look like it's a very clear view when traffic is flowing that way. It's not a high-speed zone. However, if you're coming down Indian heading south, you may not see somebody approaching that, walking on that sidewalk because there's a tree there, right next to the fire hydrant, and it looks like a power box. So is that part of the streetscape where you plan to remove that tree?
It wasn't, but it can be.
I would really look at that and just make sure for safety purposes that anyone walking that sidewalk can enter that intersection because it crosses over to the sidewalk on the west side of Indian and continues north. And in my,
But the existing condition, there's not a sidewalk on, or is there on the south side of that corner lot?
The sidewalk runs from the corner
Right there.
of Indian
Yep.
Run and Heritage, and it goes easterly.
But is it on the north side of Heritage or on the south or on both?
It doesn't run up,
Just on
it
the,
just
Yeah,
on,
just on the
just on
north.
this side.
just on the north, right?
there's only one sidewalk
Yep.
on Stratford.
That's right.
Okay.
And it's the same for Indian, it's only on the west side, not on the east side, the sidewalk. I'm sorry?
Yeah.
The discussions out there are.
Yeah, just if you could hold, I'm sorry, just if you could hold down your discussions in the audience, because it does interfere with the mics. We're listening to the tape for people at home. Thank you.
So again, on Indian Run, the sidewalk is only on the west side, not on the east side. Correct,
Correct.
right? Thank you. And then with the southern property, I noticed you have the house facing towards Indian. The reason why you have it facing towards Indian and not Heritage is because of that critical slope piece.
That's correct.
Thank you.
And also height.
Yes,
And
yes.
what?
Because if you put the house going, sorry,
the height,
if you
got
put
it.
the house going, facing Heritage, you would need
You take it from the lowest, the height is based
yeah,
off the
the-
lowest exposed of the exposure of the
Yes,
building,
it's-
right?
We were looking
Lower-
at
we
use,
call
we were
it
looking
lowest
at
to highest.
D6, it would have been Board of Adjustment. Yeah.
Thank you. And there's no plans to disturb that sidewalk on the southern edge of that
No.
property, right?
No.
I think it looked like it was in good shape, so I'd like it to stay in good shape. Thank you. That's all I got, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any others? Any other questions at this point for the applicant? The only thing I wanted, just if you could elaborate a little further, you touched on that you were going to propose some grading, because there wasn't, I didn't see a grading plan for the proposed development. Did you talked about grading, or is?
Yeah, sheet 4 has the grading on it.
Okay, I'm sorry. Could you just elaborate a little bit more how you're gonna handle that critical area? Is that going to be graded at all or touched, or?
No, the majority of it won't be touched, other than taking the shed out.
Okay,
There's a little sliver, when we bring the contours around to tie them into the existing contours. There'll be a small area that we're gonna touch. Should be lawn at this point. We don't show any trees in that area specifically. And we are allowed to disturb a little bit of the critical area, so we're well under that number.
great.
Uh,
Well, yeah, go ahead.
Yep, sorry.
Yes, please.
Across the fronts of those properties, there is a bit of a hill or a rise. Are you planning to do anything, reshape that? Because I notice other properties as you continue up Indian, it's more flat and open. This is not. It seems like it's a little more natural to what the grounds were at the time that building was built, or if they moved the dirt over in that area, and that's where they created the high point.
We will be removing or taking part of that slope and flattening it. So for our driveway, the driveway's on the northerly side of the,
So there's a good
Proposed
chance that it'll
driveway.
start to mirror that of its neighbors continuing down.
I don't think as much as they are. They're quite flat. But
Yes.
it won't be the whole frontage, but it will be probably half of the house towards, and then going in a northerly direction.
And it looks like you'll see it flatten for the driveway and south towards the porch.
Mhm,
And then as you go past the porch further south to the corner,
mhm.
it's essentially tying
That's where I see
with,
that
with the
rise.
existing grades a little bit, just balancing out that a little bit more.
Okay, all right.
And then, Chairman, to your point earlier, the dry wells on the northern property are sitting essentially at existing grade. And then on the southerly property, they're actually sitting in a slight fill condition. So there isn't an excess cut with the grading to then put them deeper.
Got it. Great.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
What I'd like to propose, if it's okay with you, is I would like to open it up to the public for public comment and questions on this specific testimony before we go on to the architectural.
I prefer that myself, yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Great, thank you. Questions only, please, and limit your questions, please, to a couple of minutes, and also to the testimony in which you've heard. Okay, please.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, just real quick, just so members of the public understand. So this is what's called a quasi judicial proceeding. So it's essentially like a court case, right? So there's a lot of rules that we have to follow. Chief amongst them being when it comes to the public is questions and comments, right? So when you're going to come up, you're going to ask questions of Mr. Hollows about the testimony he provided. The applicant has another witness, their architect, who'll have an opportunity to ask her questions. And then at the end, then you can make comments. So anything that comes out of your mouth at this point should have a question mark at the end of it. We just ask that you please respect our rules because we have a process that we have to follow. We don't want to prejudice the applicant or anybody else. So with that, when you come up, you have to give me your name and address because it's going to be on the record. And then I won't swear you in until the commentary period, unless you make some statements that you shouldn't be making. But we'll cross that bridge if we come to it. So we'll start with Mr. Renowitz, I believe. If you could just give us your name
Thank you very much.
Name and address for the record, please, sir.
Sure. Charles Renowitz, 605 Heritage Road. There was some discussion earlier about the dry wells, and we're going to have a lead-in to the catch basins. And there was a discussion, where does that water go? Could you clarify where that water goes once it gets in that catch basin?
It's in the existing it'd go into the existing storm drainage system that is at the intersection of Heritage Road and Indian Run, and it travels in an easterly direction.
Would it be fair to say this photograph is where the water goes? Would that be a fair assumption?
I think we need to mark the
hold on
photograph
a
if he's
second.
going to ask a
Wait,
question
hold
about
on.
it.
That would have to be an exhibit.
Okay.
We'll get to that. I'll enter it as evidence, but I'm asking a question. Is that where the storm water would go?
Well, we need to, with respect, we need to enter it as an exhibit for you to ask him the question.
No, we need to get it officially logged in.
Okay.
Chuck,
Yeah, it's
please.
gotta
I'll
be.
take that.
Again, part of the process. If you could show it to Mr. Zelli to see if he has any objections to.
Mark that as 01.
Okay.
Okay.
See no objections. So-
This photograph was taken by me on March 11th, 2025. This is the required drainage condition
Okay, this was
that the
testimony?
development had to install.
on.
We're going into testimony
Right.
right now. I don't think that's appropriate until we get through questions.
Well, I'm asking the question, where does the water go?
Okay, well, that's, I think.
They
we
didn't know
provided-
where the water went.
All right, so Mr. Irwinowitz.
It goes into the drain.
Bear with me 1 second. So what you're introducing is a photograph that you took on March 11th, 2025, and what is it depicting exactly so we know what it is?
It depicts where the water from this dry well, the two overruns, will go down into the catch basin, down the piping into that trough.
And where is that?
That trough is between the open space on the diagram. If you got a map here,
Perhaps.
I can't believe you
perhaps on-
don't know that this
perhaps
is
on the
where it
s-
is.
Perhaps on the subdivision?
This is where the trough is, right here.
The southwest
Okay.
corner of the property.
So before we go further, Mr. Hollows, your testimony was that the drains go east on Heritage, correct? Mr. Irwinowitz, do you agree that it flows east on Heritage to the point you just located on the map?
That is correct.
Okay. And then it enters into the system that's in the photo you provided?
That is also
Can I
correct.
interrupt you for just 1 second?
Yes.
Can we swear him in?
I was
please?
going to
Thank you.
get to it.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
Mr. Irwinowitz, I got to swear you in because you're giving some statements here. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you just provided and may continue to provide was and will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
So help me God, I do.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. So from that
I think the-
point of a catch basin in Heritage, and then goes southerly into the township lands?
That's correct.
Okay. Proceed with questions. Questions only, preferably at this point.
Okay. There were
Your
questions.
picture will be back to you in just a moment. The board's taking a look at it.
I'm looking at it. That's why I was asking.
Based upon the water flow that we just established, will there be any flooding, additional flooding based upon this additional stormwater coming out of the dry wells? And we haven't talked about the impervious coverage yet, but let's talk about just what would come out of that dry well. Where would it go, and would there be flooding?
No. There won't be flooding.
Take the mic.
There won't be flooding. We are actually, as I had stated before, we are storing 4 inches of rainfall from the roofs of both homes, or proposed homes. Right now, the existing conditions are that there is no storage for the existing structures, the house, the shed, the garage. So we're actually proposing to make it better than what's there. And I think we're actually in excess of what we're required under the ordinance to do, because we took the whole house, not the difference in impervious coverage, which is a little bit less than taking the 2 whole houses.
If you're building these dry wells and it's going to store all this water, why do we need the overflow into the storm drains?
Because we have rainfall that exceeds 4 inches, which is our design standard.
I'd like the applicants to answer that
I
question.
can say the same thing.
Can I ask?
Please,
can I ask?
I'm cross-examining the applicant, okay?
Well, can you just, again, limit to the question?
I'm trying to
and
get
see
it
if-
answered.
Okay, and he's
Just
provided you an answer.
Mr. Hollis adopted his statement
Yes.
as his testimony.
I'm sorry, yes, please.
Yeah, I had a question. I wanted to build on what
Yes.
Mr. Renowitz was saying. The aggregate area of the existing roofs of the 3 structures compared to the aggregate area of the 2 new structures, how do those compare? And a percentage would be fine.
The existing conditions are 6,103 square feet of impervious coverage. We're proposing less than 10,000, 4688 and 4688 for both approximately the same size.
Including driveways and
Yes,
other impervious
including
coverage.
driveways.
So you're actually reducing the total aggregate square footage of impervious coverage? You're increasing,
Increasing.
It's increasing.
Impervious coverage.
yeah.
But we're capturing more water because of the size of the house. We're capturing 4,000, almost 5,000 square feet between the 2 houses.
And you're proposing compliant impervious coverage on both proposed lots, correct?
Yes.
So, Mr. Hawes, if I may, so if we deduct that amount from the 9,000 and change total, our net amount is less than the 6,000 and something that's there now of uncaptured.
Right.
So we are improving the situation.
Please give me those numbers again on what the current impervious coverage is on that lot and what it will be in total with the 2 homes, proposed 2 homes.
Bill, I have it in front of me. Do you prefer he
I
answers?
prefer the applicant answer.
Okay.
Existing is 6,103. Proposed is 9,376. And we're storing 5,000. So it's more than the difference.
And you're required to store
The difference.
the difference, and the difference being 3,300 and change. So roughly 150% of the design standard is what you're detaining.
Yes.
And all overflow from the roof leaders will be directly connected to the drainage system?
Correct.
To the drainage system consistent with the overland flow and existing conditions to the same point of discharge
Yes.
on Heritage?
So if I heard that correctly, less is being put into the storm management system.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes.
That's great news.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, come on up. Next person. I'd remind the members of the public, please try to limit it to questions at this
Sure.
point in time. Okay?
Brian Daglian, 679 Heritage Road, right across the street. Just a question to clarify about the drainage. So we've talked about the impervious surfaces caused by the new development of the houses, but what's the estimate of the excess drainage that's going to be lost due to the removal of trees on the property?
Sir, while he's looking that up, can you give us your last name, just spell it for the record?
Daglian, Daglian,
And address one more time for me.
679 Heritage Road.
679 Heritage. Okay, thank you, sir.
Well, we're going to put quite a few trees back onto the site, and we're also going to have a decent lawn compared to what's out there now. So I don't really see any increase for you even across the street. We're going to capture everything and take it down in an easterly direction into the storm drainage system, which I did say in my testimony goes out to the river.
Sure, no, I understand that, but my question is more, so you're taking the aggregate from the impervious surfaces and capturing that, but are you factoring in the loss of absorption by the trees you're removing compared to, and I'm not an expert on trees, but compared to the absorption of new trees where you've got well-established trees which have fully formed root systems versus new trees that you're going to be planting, and what's the ratio of new trees to trees being removed?
Well, the testimony was that we haven't done a planting plan at this point. We'll do that. If the board were to approve it, we would do it, and the township engineer would review that. The requirement is really, as far as engineering goes, is just impervious coverage to impervious coverage. It's not other items. That's how
And I think, just to clarify, I think we're talking about more than just removal and replacement. We're also talking about preservation. So I think that's getting after what you're also discussing, which is existing tree preservation to the best extent possible.
Yeah, because our limit of disturbance is not far behind the houses. I wouldn't say we're gonna leave it naturally because it's pretty overgrown brush back there, but save as many trees as we possibly can and make a decent lawn, typical to the homes that are along the street.
Can just follow on that point if I can. So Joe, you said you're going to look at the landscaping at
Correct.
some point in the future. Do you want to give any few words of what
So
your
the-
approach is and what your thoughts would be for that landscaping?
It's gonna be based on the size, the caliber of the trees, and trying to create a balance of what is lost to them, what is mitigated with replacement for shade tree canopy, as well as the ability to absorb some of that runoff. But there is no calculation and standard for the amount of absorption from the existing trees to compare against the proposed trees. The best way to equivalate that would be by land cover, and the testimony is that we're getting comparative wooded and lawn land cover across the property, which is part of an analysis you would do on major development stormwater, rather than minor development here, which is a little bit more basic ins and outs of impervious coverage. So I think the net recharge will be larger than the absorption of the trees and what existing recharges because of the dry well systems.
Okay. So is it fair to say you would take the concerns of the public in the landscaping
Yes.
and the impact of tree removal or
And
replacement?
particularly the placement of the trees so that they're in an area that would be conducive to absorbing and being healthy by being fed by the runoff.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, that was going to be my comment as well. If there's any unhealthy trees, we absolutely should remove that because it's only going to be a problem for the new houses, right? Try and maintain any of the old growth so you have that blending of the new building the new structures with the existing neighborhood. And if there are any ashes on that property, probably is a good idea to get rid of those because they will die at some point with
Yes.
the emerald borer, whatever. the
Yes, so
bug-
any that are infected, diseased,
Yeah, I noticed that there were some trees that were not healthy
would
on
not
the
be
property.
subject to our replacement schedule typically.
Right, but we
For
can
your
work with that.
understanding,
We
yeah.
can work. Thank you.
Thank you, please.
Hi.
State your name and address.
I'm Joe Salino, and it's good to be back in here. I used to work over here in that spot right there. So I know what you guys been through, and I
Could you give us
appreciate-
your
I
address,
appreciate that.
please?
But there's some things there. We're right on,
Could you give us your address? I'm sorry.
oh, I'm sorry, 661 Heritage Road.
Great,
Okay, we're right across the street, last house before you get into the swamp there.
great. Thank you.
So after going through this and watching this for over 3 years, or about 3 years,
Sir,
of,
I understand we have an opportunity to comments, trying to keep it to questions at this point.
oh,
so,
okay,
Yeah.
okay. Let's see, two things. One is, there was some discussion about the water, and that goes into a tank or whatever. I'm not sure what that's all about. But Mr. Renowitz had talked about and asked if there, it goes into that swamp in the back of our houses. And I don't remember what the discussion was or the answer was. It sounded to me like these boxes that are in there now will take care of that. Now, I've been there for 40 years, 40-plus years, and I can tell you that there are 3 times that water, is that a problem for you?
Could we just
I'm
limit it
tr-
to, do you have
I-
a question?
Yeah, it is a
with-
question, but I
Yes,
want to tell you.
please,
otherwise
direct
you
it to
won't
the
know what I'm
applicant.
saying. You're not knowing what I'm saying if I'm going to ask the question.
Okay.
The
Can-
question, well, let me
can
go
we help
right,
you?
let me reverse it for you. The
Mhm.
question is, why did the water come in and create a swamp back there for months, or for a month, when we have a heavy rain, and it came up within 14 feet of my house, and I'm sure Mr. Renowitz's house as well, and some of the other houses. And everything is supposed to work out with the box that's in wherever it is. I don't even know where the hell the box is. But everything is supposed to work out with those boxes, right? And you're not supposed to get any swamp and any flooding rain. Is that the question and the answer I heard?
Well, what I hear from that, let me see if I can rephrase, is there a question with regards to the box, which I believe you're referring to as the dry well system?
Yeah.
Okay, well, then maybe you could please elaborate on that, Mr. Howell.
Well, the dry well system, if you look at that drawing, are the blue areas. We're collecting 4 inches of rainfall from the house, and I think you're talking about rain events were probably closer to 9 or 10 inch rainfall events over a 24-hour period.
3 times in 40 years. Not a lot, but it's there. Okay? And what I'm talking about,
Last
there's
question.
a trap here for the rain. Comes down from here, and correct me if I'm wrong. And it goes, I don't know where it goes, it's this way. But on the other side, over here, about right here, there's another,
It's a little further up.
well, wherever, close by there, where rain also comes down this way and this way here. So between the two and rain coming off of here, now I'm not talking about every day when you get rainfall. I'm talking about a heavy rain, a very heavy rain, where you think the water's gonna come into your house, and there it is, it's gonna wreck whatever's there. And that happened 3 times to us.
Mr. Salina, are you asking if the project will make this worse or contribute to that situation?
I think it would contribute if we get some more of that kind of position. Like I said, in 40 years, it happened 3 times. Not bad, but if you're living there, 1 time is bad. 1 time is bad, at least for me. I don't need my house wiped out and from the basement up for 1 time, no time.
Let me ask Mr. Hollows if he can address that. Mr. Hollows, in one of these types of, unusually heavy rain situations, would the additional runoff going through the dry wells on our property cause that problem to be worse, or would it ultimately be better than what's there now because at least we're slowing it down by the capturing of the dry wells?
Slightly better. You're still going to see the rain come, or the water come up towards your home. But what we're trying to say here is that This doesn't necessarily increase that. You know, it's not going to go from 14 feet from your house to 13 feet from your house because you're going to put two houses up. If anything, it's going to stay at the 14 feet from your house.
If I may.
Yes, please.
So,
Yes.
Over here is 14 feet from my house, so it's not gonna bother my house.
Okay, we're gonna take,
And if it's rain, I'm talking about a heavy rainstorm. Heavy rainstorm, maybe for 2 or 3 days. And then it comes down here, I don't care what you got here now, it's not gonna help
When
me.
you cut
Because I lived through that over 40 years, 3 times. And we had
Sir.
rain, I thought it was gonna come up to my house. It was coming up so close.
Mr. Salino, I think the board engineer has something he'd
yeah,
like to
he just
state.
wanted to chime
So
in, the
if-
board engineer
if
here
I,
wants to
just for
chime
the benefit of the board, the applicant, and the public, the FEMA floodplain maps for Morris County just became effective. They replaced maps from
This is a new
the,
one, right?
yes, the new maps just became effective. They replaced maps that were a couple decades old. On the prior maps, I believe the floodplain was south of these properties on Heritage Road from the Passaic River coming north. In the current maps, that floodplain is mapped through the rears of these properties. Your property, sir, it's mapped not 20 feet from the rear of your home, but within 100 feet of the rear of your structure. And then does come closer to Heritage at the area discussed earlier by Mr. Irwinowitz, where the concrete flume is. So much closer to the roadway is where the existing floodplain is mapped.
but that is mapped regional conditions, correct?
Correct.
It is not directly relevant to
No,
what
in
could
our-
be experienced from this potential
Right, so
proposed project.
so FEMA and DEP's recent studies would verify that the existing floodplain and the existing conditions is in those locations.
Gotcha.
Can I
Please, yes.
build on this question? So if you take that map right there
Yes,
and you bisect it right in the middle, you have a left and a right. Do I understand this correctly? Yeah, right there, right down the middle. You got the houses on one side, land on the other. Nothing's changing on the right side, effectively?
Effectively, yeah, I mean, other than clear some brush and maybe make some more lawn out of it, but
Okay.
it's,
So steady state? That
Yes.
The way it is today, it'll react the way it will in the future. Now, everything to the left is the house and the new impervious structure, and all that water is being captured through the dry well systems, funneled out directly into the drains effectively, travels down the street, goes through a culvert, out to the river.
correct.
So, and, sir. I
Well,
forgot
It's
your
it's the
name.
houses that are collected,
Okay.
water from the houses.
And so, sir, I'm looking at where your house is. The border of your house is to the left of that bisected line,
That's right,
Mhm.
Right here.
right there.
right?
So if there's water coming down, this gets built up, and any rainfall, I don't care how much you build it or you take some land off, what I'm saying to you is this, that in heavy rainstorms, where this is set up, and I'm not saying it's bad or good, but I'm saying that you can only put so much into your storage here. And at the same time, there's rain coming down here and here and here. Now, when these get built, there's gonna be more land, you're not gonna have a big swamp like it is now.
So can I rephrase your question then with what you just said?
Yeah.
At what point, what category of rain, inches per hour,
Heavy
does
rain.
do those dry wells get overwhelmed?
Above 4 inches of rainfall.
And then what happens?
And that, which is, probably most storms are, other than the hurricanes or,
4 inches in how long?
it's a 24-hour period.
Okay, and what happens when they're overwhelmed?
It would go, overflow into the pipe that goes into the storm drainage system.
Okay, yeah, I'm asking a different question. So those wells fill up, they get to the top, at 4 inches of rain in 24 hours, then they start draining.
Correct.
What if you had 9 inches of rain in 12 hours?
Well, it would have filled up already and it would be
And it
draining.
would be continuing to flow.
Correct.
Yes, it'd be continually overflowing the additional, the
Right.
excess inches
Okay, so.
through the system, as long as the gutter system was not overflowing. That's why we put the roof,
So when you get
the
into that
leaf
overflow,
gutters.
when you get into that overflow situation, how many inches per hour can you stand and continue to empty it at a steady rate?
Comes down to the conveyance capacity of the roof leaders.
Those are
The
4-inch
gutters themselves, the 4-inch gutter and then the roof leader coming down, to the extent that they're free and can continue to take that runoff. I think those 4-inch gutters can take probably close to 1 inch an hour if they had to.
But where is it going? Where are those gutters going?
All the
Directly into
gutters,
those
Going to
systems.
all the gutters from the house go into the dry well system.
Yeah, but we're talking, we're making a circle here. You might-
Yeah, the gutter, yes.
Hold on, guys. We got too many people talking. Hold
So
on. Time out.
the gutter, the size of the gutter and the downspout from the gutter is the limiting capacity of this system.
As it is on all houses.
As it is on, right, any house. So those are gonna be,
Either way, but even that, then the other system, once this gets filled up, right? Now correct me if I'm wrong, the water then overflows, goes into the street. If it's not over here, it doesn't go in here, it just runs down the street and,
so the,
and it goes down into the sewer, where I call it the sewer. That goes into the back end, which is the stream, when it gets ready to hit. And then that comes up to your houses, if you live around where
So-
the gentleman said,
yeah.
and what I say, and other people I'm sure.
So the
say.
first point of overflow is through the design system as intended, underground and into the back of the catch basin. The second point would be the point of failure, which is the gutters not being able to accept the flow at that rate. So in a condition where all the homes in the neighborhood are overflowing the roofs over the gutter and spilling onto the ground and going out to the street, and then to the capacity of the system in the street, this lot is contributing equally to the others in the neighborhood to that issue. So the difference of what we're addressing under this application is the increase of impervious coverage on the property and the balance of their mitigation. So their mitigation requirement is 4 inches over about 3,300 square feet, and they're providing 4 inches over about 5,000 square feet.
Okay, so what you're saying there.
Excuse me, we do want to move on, just because we want to give other people an opportunity to ask questions.
I have things to say too.
I understand, and you can come back for comments if you have specific comments. Well, we're going to have a comment period if you have comments.
All right, well, I'm good, yes, I didn't get it, I don't have that information. This didn't go my information. Number two is, as you're doing this, I think moving this around rather than having houses this way. and everything-
I'm sorry, that's a comment, and you can provide that in the comment period.
I have to, it's a comment so that you understand what my
I
question is.
understand, we're going to have a period in which you can come back up
Well,
and
let me
provide
do this
comments.
right now and I'll leave.
No, but I'm sorry, the process that we've described is we're taking questions on testimony.
Well, you know what?
Please.
You know what? I sat back there for all the time that you guys were talking. You know how much I heard, I was hearing? Everybody had their back to us. And I missed out about at least 50%, maybe 60 or 70%, which I couldn't hear. I couldn't hear what the statements were. I couldn't see what he was talking about, all of that. So I'm not supposed to come up here and ask you some questions so I could get some good
Absolutely.
information here? Wait a minute, let
But
me
you're not
finish.
asking questions.
Let me finish, please.
Yes,
Please,
please.
let me finish.
Well, we would like to
When
move
you're
on.
talking, if I was talking to you and I was turned around and talking to these people here at a voice that you can't hear, and I'm wondering why you're not answering my questions or you're not making any response, what would you say to me? You just sit there and say, well, that's the way it is? You know? I worked here before, 4 years.
and we
And I know what
appreciate your service.
customers and people here come here to do. They come here for your satisfaction, to get information that they haven't got. And you people know what the information is. And I think it's your responsibility to at least give some kind of, wait a minute, don't give me this thing.
I'm just.
So somebody,
I'm gonna explain
so
this.
that somebody understands, okay, you know, you're gonna make it in the future, in the next hour, you're gonna, or half hour, you're gonna make that or not. So let's just drop this here. Now, I just wanted to let you know that you got people here who couldn't hear what you're talking about. The second thing is there any point here or any plan to, once these trees get knocked out, I'm not still, I don't understand which trees are gonna come out and how many, but can some trees be put in along the street here to make this area here better and a better place to look at, and make this house better and this whole plan better?
Yeah.
I think that would be great. I haven't heard that we were gonna add some of
Well,
that to that.
let's let the applicant just respond to that.
They agree to do it.
Yeah, I'm sorry you didn't hear it, but I did mention that we have a big open area there. That would be a good place to put some trees in there.
No, I didn't hear that, but yes, I know that because I live right there. So,
Thank you.
anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Please. Any additional public comments?
Public questions.
Questions, please?
Just to
Yeah,
be
right.
clear.
Sorry, I was
Just to be
skipping ahead to
clear.
comments. We had enough.
Good
time.
evening, Frank Liberato, 589 Heritage Road, and I'll keep it to questions for you.
Thank you.
First question is, you testified to the fact that none of the current water on the roofs or the impervious structures is captured right now, currently.
From my visual?
Right.
From my visual inspection of the property, none. I did not see any go anywhere, other than to the surface.
Correct. So currently, as it stands now, the way the property is sloped with the amount of green space, I would call it, green area, it's all grass, vegetation. Current property most likely is reabsorbing the majority of the current runoff as it sits right now. Because I grew up next to that house, moved there in 1980, lived in the town most of my life, and I would say even with the heavy rains, never really saw any sheeting across the road. But that's to my point. What are the provisions in the new structures that you're putting up that you state you have the dry wells for the collection of the runoff on the roofs? How are you handling the sump pumps that are going to be discharging? Because there are several homes in the neighborhood that the pumps run on a regular basis. And I do believe you testified to not having checked the water table yet or done any testing to understand how high that is. And will that be connected to the dry wells, or is that being directly connected to the storm system that exists in the street?
Number one, you don't put sump pump into the dry well because you can't ever qualify or quantify the amount of water that's going in. It's not a trick question. I've had it before. My suggestion would be to put the sump pump into the overflow system that goes out rather than pump it out on the ground.
Both lots.
Yes.
So that'll be adding to so that'll be going into the overflow on a regular basis.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be going through the dry well, so it'd be downstream of the dry
That'll be
wells.
adding to the existing storm system
Yes.
that drains easterly. And did you say it drains to a detention basin or a box, or what is it?
Yeah, it goes out to a head wall. It appears visually that it's some sort of detention basin, but I just know it goes down towards the river.
Right. So it's
So I think it's a natural, kind of a natural detention area.
Does that handle water coming from down Valley Road also? That
Yeah,
culvert where we're
Yeah.
adding water to?
I believe it comes through the center of the property, that open space
There's
area.
In the center.
There's a
In the center.
there's a drainage easement through the northeasterly corner that then turns east of your subject property.
Yes.
Perhaps it's connected through there.
It comes down and goes over.
Correct.
You can probably hear me pretty well, I'm pretty loud.
Yeah. But the
We need
folks
it
at
for the-
home may not
the
be able to
record.
hear you, so thank you, Frank.
Next question is regarding Mr. Hunt's house, which is a house on Heritage Road, immediately adjacent to the property. I know Mr. Hunt's not here tonight. I think he's traveling. I have not had privy to the grading plan, and I apologize if it was out sooner to take a look at. But will any of the change in the grading of the site, the slope, or the construction of the two structures currently affect water flow going into his property, being he's the closest and he's on the downside of your construction?
We're not proposing any changes to the, at this point, we're not proposing any changes to the grading towards the back of the property, other than to maybe get it so you can put some lawn there, you know, and in those heavily brushed areas. And there are, again, visually inspecting the property, there is a natural swale there. It may have a couple of bumps in it. It's not the smoothest swale in the world, but it is there.
So I guess to my last point is, in regards to the grading that will be done from the front of the property to the houses and in the vicinities of your impervious surface, such as driveways, patios, hardscape surfaces, the runoff for that during a heavy event. We've had several heavy events of rain where we've had several inches an hour and so on. You know, now you have 2 footprints as opposed to 1 footprint. And will that be making it over to his property on the sheeting of the property when you get extreme sheeting coming across that's not captured as part of the roof system, but actually just flowing across the property? Is there any changes in the grading on the front portion of the property that could negatively impact any of the adjoining properties?
No. Simple answer is no. And I think my testimony has been pretty clear. We are capturing more of the impervious coverage than, right now, everything goes out from this house. There's no storage at all.
Right, into the greens.
So we're actually storing some of the water and then discharging it into the system, so it doesn't have a chance to get to the neighbors. And then again, we're not looking to, again, I mean, we're trying to just make this so it will most likely have a lawn in the back, you know, similar to the houses in the neighborhood, but not to take down all the trees and not to really, other than maybe put a little topsoil here and there because it's pretty undulating and it kind of moves around there. It's not a smooth area, just so you can get a lawn
Can I
in there.
build on his question? What's the soil like there? Is there shale under there?
I believe so.
So, and what happens, how far down is the shale?
That I don't know. We haven't done soil tests yet.
Several feet.
And what happens when the water drains down to the shale?
Generally moves along the shale, one of the surfaces.
So one way to look at this is you're avoiding that.
In spots, but there are
So-
several homes that are in pockets where there's, you know, obviously I'm not gonna testify to it, that's a question. But I'm asking a question, living in the neighborhood, knowing that some pumps are run on a regular basis, that I think it's a very important part before a decision is made, to know the water table in that particular lot and understand if, you know, the sump pumps will be running on a regular basis, and if they are, you know, how much are we adding in addition to what's, because right now, everything's just getting lost in the soil. I think it's a correct statement.
Could we just,
So-
I'd like to just
So-
acknowledge the board engineer. Go ahead.
So I think this might help both parts of that. First, if I could ask you a quick question. The sump pumps on existing homes in the neighborhood, to your knowledge, do they discharge into the property from the dwelling, or do they discharge to the street, or a combination?
Property.
So,
I would assume, like I said, I can't speak for each house, I would testify to that, but it's a mix.
but from living in the neighborhood during
There are some
wet
that
times,
discharge in the street,
Okay.
and some that discharge into the property,
okay. So,
depending
to,
on placement.
to make a connection to our municipal stormwater system requires separate review and approval by me as a township engineer. Outside of this application, it wouldn't be decided here. It would be essentially part of a road opening permit, which is addressed on a case-by-case basis, and we look specifically before making that decision at what the other homes in the neighborhood are currently doing and how they mitigate that. So that sump pump, if the rest of the neighborhood discharges to their rear yards would simply be asked to have both structures discharged to the rear yard. So it can be reabsorbed into the groundwater table locally. Second, Bill, if you could flip to A1, which is your colorized exhibit of the existing condition. To the benefit of Mr. Hunt not being here and some of what you discussed about his property being down gradient, Bill, for is it fair to say the majority of the runoff in the existing condition heading southeasterly comes from the existing improvements of the paved driveway, the detached garage, and even so much as the driveway sloping down into the property from the northerly section?
That'd be fair.
And so from that hammerhead area of that driveway, in the southeasterly corner of that driveway, yeah, that pattern is essentially southeasterly towards that common lot line.
Yes.
When you flip to A2, the proposed condition, do you have any proposed is that existing slope area outside your limit of the proposed disturbance?
A good part of it is.
Okay. And to the extent that the proposed existing improvement, or the proposed impervious improvements, the home, the patios of both structures, the portion that is undetained, that would drain southeasterly, is it accurate to say it's the proposed deck and patios off the rear of the structures only?
Yeah, as far as impervious coverage, yes.
Okay, and the rest of that impervious coverage is either detained from the structures to the dry wells, or is the front yard driveways that will drain southwesterly?
The driveways actually would drain out to the
Or drain
road.
out to the curb, so
To the
out
curb.
to Indian, okay.
Yes.
Okay,
Are they curbed?
Yes.
The driveways are curbed?
We haven't gotten that far on the plan yet. But the grading is towards Indian Run.
towards Indian, and if not directly to Indian, southwesterly.
Yes.
Okay. So to the extent of impervious coverage draining towards lot, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't think we have that
Yeah.
number there. Mr. Hunt's property.
Lot 11, Mr. Hunt's property. The reduction is 80 or more % of the impervious coverage existing that drains that way,
it's a
being
fair- it's a-
extracted the other way?
It's a fair amount.
Okay.
That's going to be, and then you're going to remove some of that impervious coverage, and the majority of the impervious coverage is going to come out towards Indian Run and get into the storm drainage system at the corner.
Okay, and that southeasterly rear yard is not within the limit of disturbance, so there's no tree removal, and to the extent that brush is being cleared, it's being revegetated as manicured lawn.
Yes.
Okay.
That's a fair comment.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, actually, Mr. Liberato, let me posthumously swear you in because you did answer a question for the board engineer.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you provided to me, continue to provide is, was, and will be the truth, the whole truth, like what the truth is, all we got? Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Got to observe the formalities here. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Yep. Who's on the chopping block next?
How you doing? Kevin Zolkowski, 636 Heritage Road, and I'll spell Zolkowski for you. Z as in zebra, IOLKOWSKI. Just wanted to kind of go with a question with the sump pumps if they get discharged onto the back of the property. That's going to be adding more flow from the back of the property, correct?
More than, yes, more than.
Here, please grab the microphone. Thanks.
I wouldn't say more than what's there now, but it would, yeah, it would be more. Depending on how often it discharges.
So with that, like, is that taken into account with this? Because I deal with a lot of backyard flooding, 2 feet in the basement sometimes.
I don't see this water, I mean, I've answered this question quite a few times. The water goes basically across the back of the property to the southeasterly corner, would cross the sidewalk and go into the storm drainage system. Would you be the same thing? You wouldn't put the sump pump at the property line.
I think, Mr. Hollis, you stated that you would tie the sub pumps, if there were to be installed, into the overflow pipes that go along the westerly property line, correct?
That was my initial comment, that I really would like to do that. I mean, that's the typical way you do it, but,
Going to the street versus the interior of the property.
correct.
So why, you said bucks, what? Why not? Why not? Why can't you do that? There's some pumps going into the drainage line.
Because I reserved the right as the township
Oh, he's got a
engineer not to address it at this board.
Fine, but would it be your intention to look at that as a,
Yes.
as a priority?
So it would be,
Right.
yes, it's not part of the design standards of the application in front of you in our code for stormwater management. And to the extent that it would be a potential illicit connection to the sewer system, it needs to be vetted before it's connected. And in doing that, what we do is we make sure it's singularly the sump pumps and nothing else connected, so it doesn't have any potential contaminants. And then also, we look at the neighboring homes, how many of them drain to the street, and trying to eliminate potential icing in the winter to ensure that they get to the catch basin.
Thank you. So hopefully there's a bit more confidence that the township engineer is going to address or look at that as a priority.
Does the existing house have a sump?
I did not see a discharge for a sump pump. And it's on grade at the lower level, so
And have you inspected the basement?
there is no basement, is it?
Okay.
On the side facing Heritage Road, it's on grade. And then it goes into the slope.
On the upstream side.
These doors go right out onto grade.
This is the first floor.
Good. Did you have another question?
Just a couple. Just with a couple discrepancies I noticed on public records for total lot in this area, it says 1.607, and their application has 1.75. Why would there be a difference?
Can the planner address that?
It's, what's available on the tax card is based on tax maps and scale. What is provided in the application is relative to a boundary survey. So I would defer to the boundary survey as the more accurate number rather than the tax card. My own lot in Randolph has some 0.3 acres added to it in the tax map, and in my assessment, that is not accurate to my title. So it does happen amongst subdivided properties.
Okay. And as far as the application process, I'm not, never been through anything like this before, but are calculations verified from the application to what is actually measurements that are on there?
To him?
To, I guess, more the town engineer, because I was looking at it briefly and I added up a lot more impervious coverage than what was on the application.
So we do spot check some of the calculations by scale, but they are signed and sealed by a licensed engineer and surveyor, so they are taken at their word.
And just a question on the difference between a minor and a major plan. With the initial proposal, the limit of disturbance had over an acre, right? This has just under an acre of a limit of disturbance. Does that limit of disturbance include all the demolition that's going to happen in there?
Bill, take the mic just for
The limit of disturbance on the plan is a dashed line, and there's a lot less on this plan than there was on the previous plan.
There is.
Yeah, so visually, I'd say it's definitely less than half of the property.
Right, but there's structures outside of there that are going to be demolished. What I'm saying is does the limit of disturbance include all the demo of the shed and the garage that's currently there?
Oh, not the shed, but I think we might have captured the garage. Definitely all the the driveway.
Maybe it's in the semantic of the definition of disturbance. Could you just
We're not really
classify that?
recreating that, we're just removing it. And it's a slab on grade, I'm sorry. The garage is a slab on grade, so there's no really excavation needed to remove that.
Thank you. Yep.
Will there be an environmental impact statement provided in accordance with the land use?
I need to see it. I almost gave the Morris answer. Take it on top. Right. So the requirements for environmental impact statement are LU 147. All applications for a major site plan, major subdivision, and minor site plan of 3 acres or greater in size. And so the application in front of us is site. Applications for approval of minor site plans of less than 3 acres for approval of minor subdivisions may initially include a completed short form of the environmental assessment rather than a full EIS. One second, let me read ahead. So they may include the short form of the environmental assessment, and then based on a review of that short form, the approving authority, being this board, may require a full EIS. So I'll defer to our attorney, it would be at your discretion if the short form is required initially under the may, and then if then utilized at your discretion to escalate to the full EIS.
I would agree with Joe's interpretation there. Maybe I need to look at the ordinance myself too.
All right. Thank you. And then, actually, sorry, a couple other questions. Keeping them to questions, not comments yet.
Yes, please.
With that environmental impact statement, NJ GeoWeb, U.S. Fish and Wildlife note endangered species on that property, is that taken into account with tree removals, things like that?
It's not, to my knowledge, it is not, excuse me, a requirement for this type of an application.
It's something totally outside the scope of what this board has any jurisdiction over. That would be U.S. Fish and Wildlife, or the NJDEP. That is something totally outside the scope of what this board's allowed to consider. That would be an issue for probably NJDEP or, whatever, with U.S. Fish and Wildlife to figure out. We're limited to whether or not the application conforms with the ordinance's subdivision and bulk requirements here. That's what we're limited to. So if there's an endangered species, totally outside agency jurisdiction.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yep, thank you.
Good evening. Joseph Pecoraro, 688 Heritage Road, and I'll spell the last name. P as in Peter, Ecoraro. Just one question regarding the dry well, and I don't know if it's specifically to you or the engineer. It has approximately 4 inches of capacity in a 24-hour period, as I understand it, the runoff into the dry well. So my question is, can it be improved to 6 inches or 8 inches? And if so, can that be done either in conjunction with this application or as a follow-on to this application to allow for more water to run through the dry well?
You want to take that, Bill, first to discuss as the applicant?
The town has an ordinance, the town has an ordinance, and we're following that ordinance, and that ordinance is 4 inches of rainfall over like we had said, we're actually taking more because we're taking the roof area of both homes rather than a difference of impervious coverage. So it is a little bit more.
So for the purpose of our application, our design standard is what they're meeting and exceeding. Roughly 150% of what's required is what they're providing. That's the threshold on a minor development. That's what we can obligate them to for the mitigation of really what would be bulk impervious coverage type variances that they're not seeking. So we are limited in our reach of additional mitigation on top of what they've already provided.
But just from my own understanding, can it be improved, the 4-inch capacity of the dry well? Like down the road, is that possible?
Yes, I mean, the dry well system could be designed for any standard to the extent of the subsurface water elevations and the available footprint to go laterally, as Mr. Hollis stated, stay shallow and go lateral.
Mm-hmm.
So we have some options to ensure that this system will be able to meet the 150% that they're offering to provide.
Gotcha. And could we, not in relation to this application, but could a request be formally submitted to increase the capacity of the dry well?
Privately between landowners, yes.
Okay.
Well,
Thank
just to follow on that point, because I had the same question. Right, thank you for raising the question. What would it take to go net neutral or something in terms of capacity? Yes, you've done 150%. Could you go to 6 inches? I mean, is that a material technical challenge, or is it just a cost of an additional space?
It's not a feasibility issue to say double it to 8 inches. It could be designed. It's a cost generative request. That's outside the limitations of our reach on the variances that are in front of us, because the variances are not related to that bulking and massing of the site development, the density of the development.
Exactly.
However,
Right.
the most appropriate way to effectuate that would be through ordinance revision.
Thank you.
However,
I
I will
think-
come back to that later.
David, just hold it.
Yeah, okay.
I just need a show of hands of who else would like to make a comment.
Question?
Question, I'm sorry. Comments? Questions?
We
Two.
have three.
Thank you.
I think I counted 3.
Three?
A gentleman over here, this lady in the
Okay.
center, and then that lady over there.
Great. I'd like to entertain those as they please. I think this gentleman was standing first, but. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, but what happened to chivalry?
Chivalry is gone.
It's gone. It's
Sorry.
2025.
Exactly.
He was standing.
Hi, everyone. Joe Torella, 693 Heritage Road, Torella. So I'm going to shock everyone and ask a question about water.
But your name is Joe. You're about the 5th Joe we've had.
That's
tonight.
another, yeah.
All of you talking
Joes
about
are very concerned about water
Heritage
management.
Road, Joes.
No, it's a question, not editorializing. But you can tell everyone's concerned. I think our lived experience is it's a wet place, water builds up fast. And as we've asked questions about sump pumps, water table, et cetera, a lot of the answers have been, well, it shouldn't be, we believe it should be okay, blah, blah, blah. What would it take to feel confident that this will not add to the problem? Is there a series of experts and tests that would give us high confidence that move forward and it won't exacerbate the problems? What would those look like? I'm not an engineer, so just appreciate input. And I don't know if it's a question to you, Mr. Hollows, or to you.
I think it's a combination, but
I think we're discussing two separate things. The burden of an applicant on a minor subdivision and to satisfy our code, which they are satisfying and exceeding. And then to the extent of a net neutral impact, where it's a more regionalized study of that whole neighborhood. We're approximate buffer to the 100-year floodplain is less than 200 feet to Heritage Road to the south, through the rear yards of some of those homes. And it's as close as, I would say, under 50 feet from the roadway, nearest where the head wall discharges from Heritage through the township property. So in the conditions where we're being inundated and we're wet, we're experiencing those larger storm events that are above the design standards of really any application. They exceed the 100-year storm on even the majors. So I think the bar that we're trying to define is at the upper threshold of what would be this subdivision being constructed today on the lands that existed in the 70s. That would be the appropriate time to get to that threshold if we were doing that size development in this area. And frankly, some of the homes south of Heritage probably would not be able to be permitted and constructed without being moved closer to Heritage.
Okay, so what's the, not sure if I understood, but you're saying for the subdivision, that latter question is not something you would consider? Because the subdivision is meeting its requirements, but there is this separate issue of...
I think that the greater concern that you're voicing and the neighborhoods are voicing is that the development that was appropriate in major subdivision in 1977 when the map was filed and these homes were constructed is held to a different higher standard today if developed as a modern subdivision. That the permitting that would be required at outside agencies, specifically at DEP for flood hazard concerns, and also some of the associated wetlands that would be in those associated areas, would require a plethora of permits that were not necessary or regulated in the 70s at the time of the subdivision.
Okay. I think I understand that. Thanks for entertaining.
Thank you.
So we're living with infill development in an area that's already kind of near that critical resource.
Gotcha. Nope. Thank you, everybody. I realize we're getting close to time.
Great,
so I'll
thank
leave
you.
it. Thank you.
Please.
Hi, good evening. Allison Friedland, 671 Heritage Road. I'm right across the street. I do not have a question about water. I have a question just on behalf of all the parents in the neighborhood. I'm wondering, and we didn't even get to really architecturally yet, how long is this project expected to be going on? Are these properties being built consecutively or simultaneously? Okay, who would I?
Would that be the architectural, would that be in the architectural testimony, Mr. Zell?
I'm not even sure the architects would know the answer to that, because I'm not sure even the applicant would know the answer to that at this point. Yeah.
I don't know if it's known, the answer to your question.
I can, and board attorney can affirm this. If we're approved, there will be a resolution, and it will require us to break ground, I'm using very general terms, to break ground within a year. And if we were not to do that, we would have to come back to this board and seek an extension. which honestly is relatively routinely granted, but that it can't go on forever. I mean, it has to be acted upon in a relatively reasonably period of time. And as you said, as you've seen tonight and heard, even if we're approved here, there's other things that we have to do that,
Of
that
course,
take
yeah.
time. So before breaking ground, it certainly won't be within a few months or so.
Just imagining all those vehicles and,
Well, and, I mean, Joe, you can opine on the safety-related requirements, because that's outside of really this board's purview
Sure.
during construction, because I think that's your
Yes.
biggest concern.
So their outside agency approval is going to include soil erosion from the county. That plan approval is essentially what you see on these plans for the limits of disturbance on the plans. And areas like the existing curb cut on the north end of the property to the existing driveway being reused would be a primary point of access into the property. And then the secondary access to the second home being constructed would become a point of construction access. And so those would be the points of transition between the roadway and the property that are meant to limit the amount of soil tracked off by equipment and to restrict the locations at which the contractors enter and exit the property. So there'd be controlled, safe points of egress onto Indian Run and Indian Run only. With full height curb everywhere else, they would have to make a new point of connection and put that on their soil erosion approval with the county, as well as then have a certain understanding with me and the building department as to those, as a reason for alternative access, like to the rear of Heritage.
okay, that was helpful. Thank you.
Sure.
Great, thank you. Any other, we have one other?
Young lady.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Question.
Questions.
Question.
We're at questions.
Question.
Questions, okay. Comment. Thank you.
There's nobody
Okay.
hiding behind the easel who had questions, right? That I can't say?
No.
No, okay.
Okay, at this time, what I'd like to do is just take a brief, very brief 5-minute break. I just would like to check in with the applicant with regards to what's going to transpire. We do have a hard stop at 10:30, and we'll be back, also for a quick bathroom break.
the rest of
Okay,
us
we're
can
back
chuckle.
on the air. 10:04.
Okay, we're back in session. And given the late hour and the number of other items that the applicant would like to go through, including now moving toward the architectural testimony, we are going to carry this application, I believe, to the
25th of November.
the 25th of November. So that should give plenty of time. I appreciate all of the public commentary. That should give you plenty of time to review some of the reports that I know came in a bit late for this application. So you should have ample time to review those and return. I'll remind you that the testimony that I think is planned will be architectural in nature. But there will also, of course, be an opportunity for public comment in addition to the questions on testimony.
Mr. Chair, if I could add something too, and sometimes people don't realize this, you are certainly welcome to call me at any point in time. My information is all over the application materials, because sometimes issues come up that I can discuss with our team and we can try to address them prior to the application, and hopefully it's beneficial to both sides. So please don't hesitate to call me. I definitely will return the call, and welcome to do that. Thank you.
And thank you again for all your active interest in this application and coming out tonight. So thank you. You're welcome to stay. We have some more business.
Hold on.
Yes.
Yeah, let's,
Yes.
actually, wait, before everybody leaves, hang on
You're
one second.
required to stay
Wait.
if you want to come to the next meeting.
Hold on. Okay, so first, procedural things the board has to do. We got to vote to hold the special meeting on November 25th. We also have to vote to carry the application to November 25th, which I think is what we're going to do.
It's not
Oh,
a
I'm
special
sorry.
meeting. It's a regular
That's my bad.
meeting.
Regular meeting.
Scratch that. The board has to vote. My point is,
They don't need to stay.
we're not going to be, you're not going to receive any further notice, just so everybody understands. You're not going to get anything in the mail, nothing's going to be published in the newspaper. Me, this announcement, this is your notice to come back on November 25th, so,
Great. Thank
That's
you.
it. Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying that.
yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yes, should we make a motion?
Say
to-
7:30, 7:30 on, somebody
Yeah,
asked.
7:30 PM, municipal building, same place, same time, you know where it is.
Thank you.
Good catch.
Yes, can we get a motion to carry?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to carry to November 25th.
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
No.
I didn't think so.
Thank you.
Address. We're still in session?
Yes,
Mr. Chairman,
so-
tell the public.
Yes, please, other conversations, please have them out in the hallway. We do still have some more business to attend to. Thank you. Have a good night. Okay, so we have a business item
From the
tied to our old business associated with our ordinance work, and I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Jones, and this is tied to our houses of worship.
Houses of worship, yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. The Ordinance Review Committee, the ORC, has been, this is one item that we're addressing with regards to houses of worship. The rationale behind it is loosely written, and I would say doesn't really provide or give you the feeling of inclusivity, if that's the right word I'm trying to come up with. The definition of we call it churches, but that doesn't really cover all houses of worship, all faith, and so forth. So we took a look at that ordinance and then came back with a couple of edits, and you've all seen a copy of it. We are now going to change churches to houses of worship and give it better definition, so anyone who applies or an application that comes forth, or if someone reviews our ordinance to understand how we address houses of worship, there's a clear definition. And this came up with the work that we did with Liz as part of the master plan, which is where we identified this. So we have presented a copy of the new language for the board to review with regards to houses of worship.
So what would be the next step? What does the
So-
work need
So
for
the
us
next
to move
step
this
is,
over?
everyone needs to read it, review it, If you have any questions or any amendments you'd like to make, let's have it ready for the next meeting. I don't believe there should be any. And the one thing I'm absolutely going to be asking for, and I know everyone's busy, and this is your part-time job that gets no pay and no fanfare, but try to have your near final draft, edit, final review, so that way, for me, for next time, for our next meeting, so that way, when we say we're done and dusted and we approve it and we send it, it becomes a clean back and forth. This should be, and I hate to say it this way, one of the easier ordinances to review. There's not a lot of complexity to it, not like when we're doing zoning name changes and other items where we're dealing with feet, height, width, depth, and all this other stuff. This is purely a definition to help strengthen our code books when addressing houses of worship.
Does everybody have a copy of?
That's not the
Okay.
most recent. That's what I
So,
was just gonna say.
Deb, could you please circulate, working with Tom
Liz?
to make sure?
Yeah, we need to
Yeah.
get that copy from Liz on houses of
Okay,
worship.
I don't know who has it right now.
Yeah, I will just say, this particular ordinance, I think, really needs input from the attorney, because it's just so that,
It's the faith part, right?
it-
Making sure that we're not,
it's the federal law.
that's right, no,
It's
that's
the
right.
RLUIPA,
That's exactly right.
And so
Oh, we
I,
have some experience with that.
and we, yeah, and we all do, right? And so we want to make sure that we get something that's legally defensible. So that, I do want input from the attorneys specifically, yeah,
So he gets the next copy.
yes,
We all should get a copy.
yes.
And then he comes with any recommendation on changes or gives it the blessing that it is fit for purpose. And then any changes or amendments that we make, he keeps us honest that we aren't infringing on
I mean,
anything.
just as a suggestion, would it make sense that Chris opine and provide feedback before it gets circulated out to all of us?
Oh, yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, just so we're
Okay.
not all, coming
Okay.
at it from.
No, fair enough.
I didn't stay in a Holiday Inn, so I don't have a legal degree that Chris has.
I was gonna suggest the committee work with Liz and the attorneys, and then once there's a draft ready, approved by the attorneys, then you send it to me to distribute to the board.
So
So
when
we're
can,
not
so,
equating a quorum.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
so,
And so that you have the copy.
okay.
Yeah,
So,
Document
Liz,
control.
yeah,
tomorrow, you'll send to him?
yes, of
To
course.
the
yeah.
attorney? The attorney, you'll have it to Deborah by when?
We have a meeting in what, 2 weeks?
Chris,
End of the
why
week?
don't you and I, and maybe Steve,
Yeah, let's
have,
talk about
set up some times to talk?
Perfect.
Yeah, and maybe you wanna come?
I would
Why
like,
not?
Okay,
I would like the board to have it next week.
okay, but I'm not sure that,
Like to make that possible. I
Well,
can't promise anything on short notice.
there better be
I would
fire
say-
and
I would say
brimstone
worst
that's holding you
case.
back.
Oh,
the faith.
Yes.
Worst case scenario, I would say by Thursday, the 23rd, so that I can get it out on the 24th, for the
Okay.
agenda on the 28th. Is
That's
that-
more
is that
realistic.
good?
Yes. I
Okay.
can
So
make
that's
that.
almost 2 weeks.
Let me put something on my calendar. So.
Need to put Deborah on your
Great.
Christmas card list.
Okay, good.
How do you know I
Does that
celebrate
work?
Christmas?
I know.
Let's
keep faith
Put
up.
you on the houses of worship, Christmas, or holiday list, whatever, if you don't, can't even come up with anything. The other thing is that now that we've just reviewed these last two ordinances, the one with the apartments, the other with the zoning name changes, we can expect that we're going to see a lot more ordinances coming back with these changes in it. So please have a healthy look at that as we bring them to you. And there's definitely going to be a dovetail. If you're touching something here, it's going to touch something over there. So be careful of the domino effect.
That's what Pam's gonna help us out.
Yes.
There you go.
You're the domino gal.
I got a black and blue leg right now from all the kicks I took today. Yeah, so just be very mindful as we start touching these zoning items, where those name changes are taking place. They are going to impact other items. But this is the first step of a very long process. It's not going to be done anytime soon. Like I said, it's a gift that'll keep on giving, so that's all I got.
Just one other thing
Yes, sir.
tying to this is, Joe, any update on the zoning map and the approval of that process? I don't know where we stand with that.
I didn't hear any
You speak
update.
to Randy yet?
I didn't hear any update from the last
Because,
committee
I
meeting
mean,
update.
one thing that Deb and I reviewed is we do have budget within the planning board to, obviously support
Yeah,
that.
I spoke to Randy Barr about it, so I don't know at this point. I mean, we can give you the approval to do it based
Yep.
on the planning board budget.
Or I think what would be more appropriate would be you can offer the planning board's budget to the administrator to reallocate to a township committee authorized proposal.
And that all needs to be documented, approved, so if you're audited.
If you guys haven't heard,
I thought I was the lawyer here.
yeah.
Yeah, you did stay at a
You guys
Holiday
know,
Inn
you guys know
Express.
Lupo, right?
You did stay at a Holiday Inn Express
Did that
last
come
night.
from ChatGPT or yeah?
Yeah, right.
I'm working on my law degree right now.
Oh, yeah?
He's an engineer of pros.
No.
Yeah.
I'm already in my 4th decade, and I'm not going back to law school.
No, you're not.
It wasn't easy in my.
You know,
third decade.
however
No,
we
but
get,
in all
however we get it
seriousness,
done, it's a
yeah.
priority it's a priority that we want to get.
I can make you a map, but under your direction and your budget, and you can offer it to the committee, but it can't get adopted and become formalized unless the committee endorses it, right?
Yeah,
So
right.
I don't want to waste your funds to then have to go back through another cycle. So
course.
I'd rather it just be
That technically is
done through them.
That's technically an update to the land use ordinance.
Yeah.
Update.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep, so we had to do it formally.
Right.
As ordinance, resolution, and then master
Right.
plan consistency, et cetera, yeah.
So how do we get this done? Because we've been talking about this for a while. So what's the recommendation in English?
I guess I have to put a proposal into Randy, and he puts it into the budget for 2026. And part of that budget would be your unexpended funds from this year that you carry forward to it, and for next year allocating something that you're going to contribute to it. to the
Okay,
extent-
so can you proceed with providing that information to Randy
Yeah,
formally? Thank you.
yeah, I got to find
Yep.
somebody to write it up, yep.
Great. Okay,
I got-
anything else?
Yeah, one
Old
other.
business?
This is not old business, unfortunately. I'd like to make a formal complaint about the audio system in here. It is atrocious.
Yeah.
It's
Ben.
atrocious.
Yeah.
While you're
I think
talking
it's an
about
understatement.
budget, maybe we can include a line.
Before you spend your money on the zoning map, be careful.
Yeah.
Would you like to replace these?
Well, the zoning board's been complaining for years, and
Yeah.
it's not getting very far, so.
Well, I'm putting it on the record.
And the other thing is, split screen, so people can see the maps and the artifacts on the
That's a
screen.
little bit harder to do, but.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just,
Can
one other old business very quickly, if I could. Joe,
You've done a
spoken
lot of
enough.
talking on that.
I'm
Just
sorry,
going back
Dave,
to the
it's-
the state.
understand.
Hey,
One second.
Steve's not here. I might as well be the one talking.
On the back.
He's
what-
probably listening.
On the back of what you just said about how we display stuff up on those screens, I don't know what the technology department is doing, but do they have some kind of roadmap that kind of shows what they plan to do and how can we present better to the audience? Because it is,
It
I mean, we're
works.
giving copies from our hands
I
to the public so that they can see, and they're having problems with this thing here, and we heard it at the TC meeting.
They can't
They need
hear.
to spend $200
So,
on a TV at
I'm
Walmart
not,
in HD.
all I want is, I want to
No.
hear if there's a plan and what's on it. So
It works.
Somebody looking at it.
It works. I've used it. I've presented it at committee meetings from that podium right there, connecting to those screens.
So we should.
So I think it just needs to be
There's
an education
maybe.
session.
Yes.
And then giving something that we can give to the applicants, professionals, so that they know.
Yes.
Well, and we need to make sure
Give
when
them
the
a- give 'em a piece
applicants
of
work
paper.
the technology,
Right.
all right?
Give them a piece of paper, said, this is how you hook up. Give them the HDMI cable, boom, they in present mode, and away they go.
And does that go on the TV, broadcast?
Yeah.
TV?
It can, yes.
Yes,
It
yes.
will, yes.
Yes.
That'd be good.
Okay.
So we're almost
In lieu
there.
of the
Thank you.
technology, maybe if we can just remember to invite the audience, if they want to look at what we're looking at, that they're free to come
Yes,
up
that
and
would've been
stand
good.
in front of whatever is.
I don't want 'em in the
is on
pit.
book.
Right.
Well, we've done that before, you
Yeah.
know.
Yes, we have.
Getting crowd control.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Is there-
Speaking of,
Just one quick question.
Yes, that's.
Yeah, just ask. Joe,
The microphones wanna go home.
Oh,
That was even worse.
wait, or if I take the cordless and, just, maybe if I unplug it. Take it out from the bottom, I don't know if you can turn it off.
my case in point.
Wow.
I think it was me.
Well figured out.
You had a question?
Yeah, very quickly. The state plan is sort of coming to finalisation now. I think Bob looked at the latest version, but we had that open question. Did you ever, I think you were going to follow up with the Morris County about the sort of 10, 12 towns of the Passaic River approach.
So,
Did you remember what I'm talking about there?
yeah, so there's a Whippany River Task Force that many of you may be aware of that centers around a number of communities nearby us that are tapped into a FEMA-funded, federally funded project through allocations made through Mikey Sherrill's office. That is ongoing. That is an existing group. There have been recent opportunities to create similar groups. The Great Swamp Watershed Association has been reaching out to communities in this area. I know they reached out to, are located in Harding, reached out to Harding. I know they reached out to Morris Township. I don't have confirmation. They didn't reach out to me here, but I believe they reached out to the administrator and others in the area to try to collaborate for a DEP resilience grant opportunity. Similar to that kind of structure, the requirement there is that it include 3 or more municipalities that are all adjoined together, so common boundary between them contiguously, and also a community-based organization, the Watershed Association or any other nonprofit watershed association would meet that requirement. One of those 3 or more would have to then be the lead. And then the opportunity is to get access to grant funding for pre-qualified vendors to provide guidance. So most of that is directing funds towards the Rutgers Cooperative being that pre-qualified vendor. That's pretty much the one opportunity that has come up since
So
that reach.
how do we coordinate or get involved with anything? And I'm still having in my mind the gentleman at Morris County or the state who asked, reach out to him.
You need consensus amongst the governing bodies and consecutive municipalities to create an alliance.
Right, but how, okay.
I mean, the challenge we have with our watershed is we cross county very quickly. 3 counties.
Correct.
As the Passaic winds down in the upper Passaic, so.
We don't have
is
to
this
stay within the
Morris-
county.
Is this more specific?
So
what
the
you're
resilient,
referring to?
well, the discussions previously were centered around somebody at Morris County.
I think, was he state or Morris County? I'm trying to
No,
remember.
it's Morris County.
It was Morris, I think it was
Morris
Morris.
A representative of the county.
Yeah.
So I suppose we could get
these-
contiguous communities.
the grant
especially if
op-
we
yeah.
want one side of the river.
The grant opportunity,
Right.
the grant opportunity that's currently available that closes later this month. It was actually, I think, supposed to close today and was extended by 2 weeks. Is not county specific, so those municipalities could be in separate counties.
Right.
So how do we do something? That's all I'm asking. And how do we contact the person at Morris County just to fulfill a request that gentleman had? That we.
I will apologize before my comment. Turn to your left.
TC. I thought we left it with you, Joe, but.
Well, I don't have the authority to go do that effort on behalf of the will of this body or the township committee. So it has, as much as it's lawyer speak when I say about the zoning map, it's the same about this type of a thing. I cannot start to collaborate other professionals and other communities and other resources without clear direction.
Okay, so there's a township
So-
committee comment.
But my understanding from speaking with county reps is that there wasn't any specific initiative being brought from the county to the municipal level.
Okay.
So there wasn't a coordination downward. It would have to be, I think, more lateral than up,
Yeah.
frankly. And I've been watching the grant opportunities. The grant opportunities are limited. That one opportunity that's in front of us now was recently published, coincidentally timed to kind of the NJ PACT rules starting to promulgate in the registrar, and then the opportunity to get that funding in place for what are the next phases of the WIP, Watershed Improvement Plan, for the MS4 permits.
But, you know, David, I'd like to, you know, just so we can close out tonight, I'd like to work with you, and I've got some ideas on
Okay.
how to get to the county, so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right,
I
more
think-
to come then.
Yeah, no, let's work together and figure out how we could
And
potentially position
I
ourselves.
will
for
offer
some
to you
grant.
that there are, in the Great Swamp Watershed Association, there are elected officials in your neighboring communities that are on that
Yep.
association. So perhaps that's the quickest way to some of our neighbors.
Yep, yep.
Good enough, thank you.
And it's very consistent with some of the goals we had set out in the master plan too, so we'll follow up.
Okay.
Okay, anything else? Any other old or new business? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all.